out. We're based in Houston, Texas, and we've got our vets coming out in support of African Americans. We have women coming out in support of men. The small business community, particularly after COVID, has really galvanized. They're growing. Now, capital's tight right now. I will give everyone that. But they're really a savvy community that they have to have each other. If you look at Main Street, all those shops are working together.
Gore says the legal headache so far has turned out to be galvanizing for the firm. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
I'm Tiffany, founder of Harlem Pilates. When I couldn't find Pilates in my neighborhood, I started a studio from my studio apartment. Chase Inc. helped me grow from 1 Pilates studio to 3. Because when you start small, you're going to need some big help.
With the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, but are the sole responsibility of the host and guests of this particular show.
America may have many, many days, but they will be full of trouble. There will be no rest. There will be no tranquility in this country until the nation comes to terms with our problems.
Bringing you social and political commentary from his mouth to your ears, breaking down the issues which matter to you.
You're not put here to be a white man's footstool. You're put here to represent the very best in God's word.
Legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Mr. Sherwin, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
From Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, man, but I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017 The Truth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Friday, April 18th, 2024. It was an emotionally charged evening last night at let me just say, an unconventional meeting of MPS school board directors. Admittedly, it's been a while since I've attended a school board meeting. In fact, the last one I attended, former state representative Polly Williams was alive, and she attended that meeting with myself and probably several other dozen community members. When you get a large showing of people at an MPS school board meeting, there is something that has risen to the level of consciousness of the people in our community, something that has major stakes and major consequences. And I'll be honest with you, I can't even remember what that last school board meeting was about. It was probably 2015 or 2016. It may have been something surrounding the Black Lives Matter curriculum that the board was considering, because there actually was a Black Lives Matter curriculum that was instituted at MPS. And if I'm not mistaken, when Aisha Carr was a teacher in an MPS school, she was a part of administering that Black Lives Matter curriculum. This is back in 2015 or 2016. So that was likely the last time I went to a school board meeting. Well, as we were communicating this week and probably last week, there was an item on the agenda of last night's school board meeting to possibly censure, which is discipline, or take up this new action that the board has granted itself authority to do, remove a member. Did you guys see when they did that in Tennessee? There were 2 African-American men and then a Caucasian woman that the Republicans who control the Tennessee legislature, because these 3 individuals spoke out on behalf of their constituents and probably themselves about gun violence that was taking place. I think there was like a shooting or something that happened in Tennessee. And these 3 Democratic lawmakers, 2 African Americans and 1 Caucasian woman, they were speaking out, and maybe they were speaking out of turn, and maybe they were violating the Tennessee State House rules, and they were removed from the legislature. Now, they since were reinstated. There are special elections in which all 3, well, 2, only the African American men. You guys remember this? It was maybe a year or so ago, where they reinstated these the 2 African-American men who were removed from the legislature. Now, they were Democrats, but the Republicans had authority in that legislative body in the state of Tennessee, and they removed the 2 African-American legislators. They did not remove the Caucasian woman, go figure, but they all were vehemently opposed to the Republican state legislatures handling of guns and gun violence and guns in schools in Tennessee, et cetera, et cetera. Very shocking that independently elected individuals could put together a policy in which they can remove one another. So obviously I'm opposed to that, because those folks, just like our school board members, are elected by us that live in certain districts. And by removing those 2 African-American members of the Tennessee state legislature, you disenfranchise those voters that put them in office. And I do not know where this new mode or this new theme is coming from. Maybe it's an extension of the poison that has infected our politics because of Donald Trump. And I hope he goes to jail. And I hope his ideas get buried under the cell with him. However, I digress. Well, now the MPS school board, which you would think is made up of a bunch of Democrats and left-leaning liberals and progressives, et cetera, well, they have created a rule as well where they can act like the bigoted Tennessee legislature, where if they disagree with one of their colleagues who, again, is independently elected, they can remove them. And so I do appreciate their audacity and their boldness to put such an item on their agenda for the public to take a look at, and take a look at the agenda item we did. Now, they did not name the board member in question who they were considering censuring or removing, but we all know who it is. And that's school board director Aisha Carr. Even though she was not named, she was very vocal, as she always has been. She was very outspoken about what this referendum, which recently and narrowly passed. Please let that be a warning to all of you individuals who were in support of the referendum. I assure you, you will not get another one, so you better make good on this one. You only got it by the hair of your chinny chin chins. But Aisha Carr, she appeared on this program. She appeared on other media platforms throughout the city to inform people. She had town hall meetings. They even canceled one of her town hall meetings, or they attempted to cancel one of her town hall meetings, even though the school building was empty. There was no children in the building, and she wanted to have a town hall meeting, I believe, at Washington High School, but mysteriously it was canceled. And how ironic was this? That day, her school board meeting got canceled, Aisha Carr, to address her constituents in the city of Milwaukee at a high school in a central location on a day in which the children were on spring break, so the building was open. And the whole point is you have these kinds of meetings in the community, in the school, so it's much more accessible for people that live in the surrounding neighborhood instead of always dragging everybody to central office. It feels like whenever I go to a school board meeting in central office, I'm being dragged to the principal's office. It's really weird. It's a weird feeling going there. So the day that they mysteriously pulled Aisha Carr's permit to have this community meeting to speak out against the referendum because as a school board member, she knows full well the financial mismanagement and how they very well might use resources that come from us, from taxpayers, property taxpayers, and even renters, because your rent is now going to go up, and they can use those resources to create more disproportionate harm and inequity to the students who need the resources the most. So on the day in which her school board meeting was canceled, Superintendent Posley just happened to be here at Good Karma Brands talking to the folks a couple of doors down at WTMJ, which I didn't necessarily understand because the TMJ listenership, which I am very familiar with, don't send their kids to MPS and probably don't much care what happens to the Milwaukee public school system, because a lot of them, most of them, probably 90% of them have opted not to send their children there. So I found that very ironic that that is the day in which Aisha Carr's school board meeting was canceled. So we have this item on the agenda, which is kind of buried, and they use very nebulous language. And we were hoping that people would show up to support Director Carr because we did not know what her fellow board members would do. Would they do something like they did in Tennessee, where the Republican-controlled legislature decided to oust 2 black Democrats for, quote-unquote, violating rules of the Tennessee State House and literally had them removed from the legislature? I wouldn't expect our school board to do something like that. But more and more I'm starting to see Milwaukee looks a lot like Tennessee, doesn't it? It looks a lot like Alabama, looks a lot like Selma and Montgomery, looks a lot like Mississippi, doesn't it? There's some truth to, it's not just a saying, it's not just an adage, it is backed up by statistics and facts and disparities, that Wisconsin is one of the worst places to raise a black child. And on that same list, it rates as one of the 10 best places to raise a white child. And people have started really digging into that over the past decade or so since we found out those very damning and doomsday type of statistics about this place. Well, taking action against an African-American board member that wants to be honest about how this referendum could be damaging and could further exacerbate disparities that black children are suffering inside of the schools and also outside of the schools. But Aisha Carr just wanted to make folks be fully aware before they cast their vote, because isn't that what we've always been saying? We want to know what's going on. We want to hear from our elected officials. They're not honest with us. They don't confront us. They don't approach us. They don't tell us what's going on. They don't tell us what's on the ballot. Well, here you have an opportunity in Aisha Carr, someone that was actually doing that. And so she is so valued to us because she is one of the few voices, and it seems as time goes on, we have fewer and fewer voices that are deeply passionate about the plight of black children. She is one of them. So if you attack her, you attack all of us. And I think those board members saw that last night. There was at one point in time, there was probably 80 plus members or 80 plus members of the audience, rather, community members that attended that school board meeting. I don't know if y'all have ever attended a school board meeting before. No one goes. There were so many people in attendance that people that work in central offices and the administration building were popping their head in just to see, because they had never seen anything like that before. Those school board meetings are empty. But it wasn't empty last night. And there are a number of people that gave really passionate speeches and urging the board to take corrective action. And what the board wanted to use some of their time for was to restructure how some of the standing committees operate. Maybe we should cut this committee out. Maybe we should reduce the frequency of how often this particular committee meets. One of the committees that was in question of how as they were considering restructuring the different committees is the PACE committee. I had never heard of the PACE committee. I'm familiar with their work, but didn't know the name of the actual committee. That committee is one that is charged with very important duties that engage the community and engage parents. PACE stands for the Parent and Community Engagement Committee. You know how a bunch of y'all just blame these lazy, do-nothing parents that are not involved in their children's education? Well, there's actually a committee that is designed and created to engage more parents, because a lot of y'all just want to dismiss the failure of the MPS school system, and we have to admit the entire system is a complete failure, because if you were to give that entire school system a grade, it itself wouldn't graduate. Imagine that. MPS itself couldn't even graduate from MPS. And they want to take the frequency of the meetings of the committee that is designed to encourage and engage more parents. But we're oftentimes the one, at least those that are very dismissive, those that don't get into the details, those that don't study the data of how MPS reinforces, reinvigorates, and recreates institutional racism in the most segregated city in the country. So you got to watch Milwaukee real closely, because Milwaukee will make it look like it's a great, wonderful, beautiful, positive place, but will be throwing black people under the bus. And so we have this committee, and so the board had the audacity to say, well, we don't need this committee to meet very often. So that was the first strike. The next strike was the going into closed session to determine if they were going to censure, which is essentially discipline, or remove Aisha Carr from the board. A number of really passionate speakers spoke. I'm going to give you more details, including playing a little bit of last night's school board meeting, where the meeting actually got shut down. It got so incredibly intense, and I'm glad it got shut down. And I'm glad that those other board members saw the passion, saw the people in our community that care very deeply about the school system, that care very deeply about the children, because a lot of them and a lot of you would believe that we don't care about education. We care about it more than we can possibly express. So shout out to everybody that showed up last night. And take a break, come back. I'm going to play you a little sound from the MPS school board meeting that got shut down because last night the tribe spoke. You were listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's your boy Ben Jammin'.
And your girl Noni Juice.
Y'all know what time it is.
It's time to get jammin' with Juice.
The hottest brand new show in town, Jammin' with Juice.
Real conversations, juicy interviews, and a whole lot of fun.
From trending topics to what's happening on the streets, we got you.
Sip on Jammin' with Juice every Thursday at 6 p.m. where we're always keeping it juicy.
It's amazing. Catch Jammin' with Juice exclusively on YouTube.
This is Community Heartbeat, presented by Outreach Community Health Centers on 101.7 The Truth.
There are individuals in our community who certainly need health services, a variety of health services. What if they do not have health insurance? How can you serve that population?
Our community health center allows patients to come to our clinic regardless of their ability to pay, and that's part of our federal funding. You can come to our clinic and be seen based on what we call a poverty level. So anyone 200% or below a poverty level can be seen in our clinic for anywhere from $20 to $40 for that visit. So in other words, if your visit is a $400 visit and you fall on our sliding scale where you pay $20 for your visit, you would not be responsible for the $400. You'd only be responsible for $20 for that visit. Also, our pharmacy prescriptions are very, very affordable as well. Where you would normally pay, let's say for an inhaler, $240 a month for an inhaler, at our facility that would cost you about $4 or $5.
It's very good to know you guys have a sliding scale that makes it very, very affordable.
Hey Milwaukee, my name is Martina and I'm with the Independent Living Supports Pilot Program team. We help adults 55 plus and those 18 plus living with disabilities, providing up to $7,200 for home services, medical equipment, home modifications, and more. There's less than 30 days left to sign up for this program. See if you qualify today. Call 414-289-6874. Again, that's 414-289-6874. This program is made possible by Milwaukee County and Wisconsin Department of Health and Human Services.
Happy Financial Literacy Month from Educators Credit Union. If you're dreaming of financial freedom, new ways to pay down debt, or tips to invest in your future, Educators Credit Union can help. They offer budgeting tools, personal finance courses, and debt solutions to turn your financial dreams into reality. Learn more at ECU.com. That is ECU.com. Membership at Educators Credit Union is open to anyone who lives or works in southeastern Wisconsin, and they are federally insured by by NCUA.
Disability Rights Wisconsin's Medicare Part D helpline is here to help disabled elderly Medicare beneficiaries with questions about their Part D prescription benefit. The Part D helpline may be able to help you save money on your Part D premium, deductible, and copays. For free, unbiased assistance, please call the Disability Rights Wisconsin Medicare Part D helpline any time of the year at 1-800-926-4862. That's 1-800-926-4862.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Assistance, please call the Disability. Welcome back. All right. There's a number of speakers that attended the meeting last night, and I'm glad that they did because they all gave their very unique perspectives on the representation that African Americans vote for, and we expect a certain amount of output and information and communication from the people that we put in places, in spaces, and in rooms to communicate back to us. And so when there is a status quo body that seeks to silence the voice of one of their black colleagues, well, that silences our voice. See, black people are very easy to diminish because even though we have 8 members of the 15 on the Milwaukee Common Council, not even all of them are in unity and in unison about what needs to happen for the vast majority of African Americans here. And so whenever we have an opportunity to elect somebody to legislative or executive office, there is a higher level of responsibility that we place on them. And you can't even compare a Caucasian executive or a Caucasian legislator to an African American one. White folks have always had representation. In fact, they have so much of it, most of them don't need any. We have had so little of it that we need all that we can get. And just like men cannot legislate properly on behalf of women, we try, we think we can, we can't. We fail at it miserably. Don't believe me? Look at what's going on right now at a national level when men legislate on behalf of women and women's bodies. White people can't legislate on behalf of black people. They can't. They try. They read a bunch of books. They go to college and they get a bunch of fancy degrees. They might even sleep with a black person or two, but that does not help them legislate our success. And no strike against them. It's just the way America is set up. It's next to impossible. But that is why we have this beautiful system of democracy that allows us to address the issues, peaceably assemble, and have redress against our government. That's the beautiful thing about democracy. And I don't want us to take it for granted because if the wrong person gets elected in November, we're going to lose all of that. Sheila Dodd spoke. Montreal Kane spoke. The great Vaughn Mays gave his impassioned words as well. Quinton Claiborne gave some really, really good insight as to how, if the committees on the school board are going to restructure themselves, a real succinct way in which they could do so. Judge Lena Taylor also appeared. I didn't expect her to be there because with her new role as a circuit court judge, I am not sure how she is able to participate in certain types of political discussions because judges have a whole different set of ethics that they must follow. But she was right on time because now, as a circuit court judge, and she admitted this, she said this on the record last night. It was such a beautiful speech that she said. She sees the failures of our public school system in her courtroom. She even talked about the time when she was in the legislature when she had suggested things and there was failing schools and we wanted to, right the ship and we wanted to implement some change and it all fell on deaf ears. And she even talked about a time where she worked with Republicans to try and institute some change because more schools were being added to the failing list. And that fell on deaf ears until the state DPI executive at the time, Tony Evers, now governor, they just changed the formula so the schools that were failing on paper weren't failing anymore because they lowered the standards. But of the speakers last night, let me give a shout out to Milwaukee's Cornel West and Jamil Harris. And I have a little bit of what he said at last night's board meeting. And so right after he spoke, basically a protest broke out in the school board meeting when I think it was fueled by his words.
Next we have Jamel Harris.
Jamel Harris, Harris, zip code 53208. I'm going to try and be polite. On my way here, I read an article about how y'all just cut mental health services for 53206.
Yes, they did.
I also know that in your work through your referendum, you shut out many students, families, and districts across the board to talk down and tell us how things are going to go, because that's the status quo here. Speaking to this item, PACE, it's beyond disgusting at this point that some of you all that are now on your second terms can sit here with a straight face after lying during your campaigns about how much you care about this community, these children, and what stands here in front of us. There have been lies told by many of you on this dais. You are incapable, Marva Herndon, of running this school board. The evidence is appalling at this point. You can't even function in this moment.
Sir, please stick to the topic.
Don't patronize me, okay? You sat here and played games in people's face all night. We ain't playing, okay? You're consistently trying to shut us out, and I am here today to speak up directly to you, Madam President.
That is fine.
How can you think about cutting off access to parents? I am a proud father of 2 highly successful MPS students. But guess what? We're privileged. My children go to McDowell Montessori and Rufus King. They have. Okay? They have. Their schools are deeply engaged. Don't say a word.
Sir, I will not sit here and listen to you to be threatened.
I'm reclaiming my time. Can I please have my time back? We're not having
they cut his microphone.
Because you won't. That's why you only come to this dais. You won't come talk to the community because you're afraid of the real work that needs to happen. And so are you. So are you today and today.
At this point, the school board members look absolutely stunned. Now security is approaching the podium, and then community members are also approaching the podium because it looks like they're about to grab Mr. Harris and escort him out. The police were also in attendance at the meeting and also made their way toward the podium.
What? A recess, please. Recess, please.
And at this point, a protest broke out. Board members were escorted to a room outside of the meeting room, and I don't know if they feared that they were going to get attacked, but when I say that the meeting got very intense, that is probably an understatement. But this just shows the passion that parents and community members have for the school system, for their children, but also the high level of disrespect that board members are showing the one individual who is going above and beyond to try and disclose to us how that board and how the school system is disproportionately harming black children. It's amazing. They get this $250 million referendum. They had $377 million that was unspent, right? So the district gets another $252 million. So what do? They take away trauma service workers out of the 53206 zip code. And those of you that are not familiar with 53206, it is the compilation of some of the worst statistics regarding African Americans in the entire country. You got to think about this for a second. They have $400 million unspent. They get another referendum for another $250 million. And the first thing they do is they take out trauma support specialists in schools, in neighborhoods, in a zip code that has more trauma than probably every other zip code combined. Where are they going to reassign those positions, you wonder? Or where are they going to reclassify those positions? Are they going to have like more art and more dance and more music in the high-performing schools? That's the kind of stuff that they do at the expense of black children because they think black parents don't care. But last night showed them differently. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
All Brewers games are on sale now. Coming up, a weekend showdown with the Yankees, Friday, April 26th through Sunday, the 28th. Start the series with Friday's Hockey Night. Then take home a limited edition Brewers City Connect Tumbler Cup at the game on Saturday, the 27th. Presented by Quick Trip. Don't miss out on a marquee weekend of baseball. Grab your seats at brewers.com/tickets.
It's early in the year, and we're trying to hit these fitness goals. 0 to 100 Fitness is dedicated to the Milwaukee community, offering affordable and quality fitness and mixed martial arts programs for the last 10 years. They have competitive and novice classes in MMA, kickboxing, and grappling for all skill levels and ages. From youth, community outreach, women's self-defense, and personal safety programs, 0 to 100 Fitness will help you on your journey to greatness. So get up off the couch and into the best shape of your life. Call 414-522-1275 today.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 101.7 The Truth. Here is Sherwin Hughes with his truth.
I think you're spoiled. You have too many choices. We sometimes forget that having choice is a luxury. I can remember when I was a little kid, I either ate what my mother cooked for dinner or I starved. I didn't have the luxury of choice. Now we can choose anything and everything. We can choose which apps we want to be a part of. We can go and pick a new mate. We can decide what food we want to order. We have an unlimited amount of choice. And I think that we forget that choice is a luxury. You are either a winner or you're a loser. You're either going up or you're going down. You're either free or a slave. You are either woke or you are asleep. Those are called binary choices. And it's tough for people to understand just having two choices in a world that inundates us with unlimited choice. I know you don't like the candidates that are on your ballot come November. Guess what? They probably don't like you either. But you only have a binary choice. You either want this country to excel and succeed and explore new industries and be honest and fair about racial inequity. You either believe in climate change or you don't. You believe in democracy or you don't. You want a country that will do whatever it can to help people, all people, regardless of gender identity, regardless of national origin, or you want to take the low road and vote for the person that only wants to help himself with no regard for anyone else. Choice is a luxury. Unfortunately, too many of us forget that it's a luxury. Binary choice is all you have in November. I hope you choose wisely.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 101.7 The Truth. Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
From the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Going into a Milwaukee school board meeting last night, board member Aisha Carr was bracing for her colleagues to consider opening an investigation into her conduct. Now, keeping in mind her conduct was simply informing us. You got to just conceptualize this for a moment. I'm going to get back to the article in a second. By informing a community that is oftentimes starved of political and policy information, that warranted discipline by her colleagues. They're not afraid of violent black people because they got jails and prisons for that. They're not afraid of us shooting anybody, them or shooting one another. They're not afraid of that. They're afraid when we get knowledgeable. Because with knowledge comes opportunity. With opportunity comes leveling the playing field, and they simply don't want that. You got to wonder, ladies and gentlemen, why after all of this time the school system is still failing. I gave a whole bunch of information on previous programs how other big cities that were actually doing as bad, if not worse, than our Milwaukee public school system, Detroit, Cleveland, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, were able to turn their school districts around. And MPS actually has a formula. It was brought up last night. They know what they can do to make schools successful. Now, it's a process, but they know what that process is. They've been doing for over 100 years. But it seems like the same kids, the same schools, the same zip code, the same neighborhoods keep failing because they are disinvesting in those neighborhoods. And here's how they're able to get away with it. Because some of us will just blame us. Even still to this day, in the year 2024, black people still blame black people for black failure. We fail to blame racism. We don't want to admit that that's what it actually is because it's easier for us to blame one another because I think deep down inside, we actually hate one another. But once you peel away all of those layers, the hate that we have for one another was created by them too. And all we're doing is still playing into their hands, minus the chains. After 2 hours of public discussion in a room filled with Carr's supporters, school board members retired to a closed session meeting to privately discuss whether to open an investigation into, quote, concerns and complaints about an unnamed board member. They did not return to open session. After the meeting, board president Marva Herndon told the Journal Sentinel the board, quote, just had a discussion and could take action at a future meeting. Carr said she cannot legally share what happened during the closed session. Ahead of the meeting, Carr told the Journal Sentinel she hadn't seen the complaints in question and she did not know what they were about. Carr, who was elected in 2021, said she expected that the complaints were likely about her because of disagreements she had had with other board members and administrators. Carr has been critical of MPS leadership and opposed the April 2nd referendum that raised the district's taxing authority. They haven't officially named me, but I'm certain it's me, Carr said before the meeting. What can I say for now is that I have done nothing illegal or unethical. Over 70 people filled the school board meeting room last night, an unusual sight for the space. Word had spread that board members could take action against Carr. Residents cheered for Carr throughout the evening, with some speakers saying that they would work to vote out any board members who tried to boot Carr from the board. So in the year 2025, there are at least 4, maybe 5 board members who are up for re-election, including Aisha Carr herself. The agenda for Thursday evening, which noted that board members would be considering initiating an investigation about a board member, included 2 attachments to board rules, one that can allow the board to censure a member and one that can allow the board to remove a member. Both rules require a 2/3 board vote to initiate the investigation. So there's another part of the meeting where they're talking about reassigning committees, but this was a way in which they could take away some of the teeth from the committee that Aisha Carr chairs, which is a committee to engage parents. So they are trying to take away her authority as a duly elected and sworn official that represents the largest and most lucrative MPS school board district. So she chairs a committee that encourages parental involvement, and they're trying to reduce the frequency of how often that committee meets, which means they will be reducing the amount of input that parents can have if they want to engage in their child's school or in other board business. Like, this is egregious conduct. It really, really is. And if there were complaints about her that other board members received, wouldn't you think they would share those with her so that she'd have an ability to respond to her colleagues or respond to the complaints? What they're doing is they're keeping it secret. They're not telling her who made the complaints. They're not telling her what the complaints consist of. Because what if the stuff is all just made up nonsense? What if it's all just rumor and conjecture? They're not even letting her know what the complaints are. You would think if they were a decent group of individuals that had a level of respect for the fact that their colleague was elected just like they were, they would share with her those complaints. Lena Taylor showed up kind of out of nowhere. She's the judge now. She can do that, I suppose. And somebody in the text message comments brought up Senator Taylor's speech last night at the school board meeting. And actually, I have her comments, and let's hear from Senator Taylor at last night's school board meeting.
Good evening. I'm coming for 3 reasons. The first is I come because I want to support Director Carr. And the reason I come to support Director Carr is not just because when she ran, I supported her, but I'm doing it because I also see the work that she does with our young people, the work that she does in our community. And with all due respect, I appreciate what Director Jackson said. Often you don't see this kind of turnout in your meetings. And what you should wonder is why. And so one of the things that I want to remind you of is that each of you are independently elected. And whether you agree or disagree with one of your colleagues, or whether you like or don't like the tactics or the ways of one of your colleagues, it is really important to remember that one was elected, but 2, the work that they do. And in the end, I am coming too because I work in a job where I see the results of our education system every day. I see individuals who have not graduated. I see individuals who do not know how to present themselves, not just in a court system, but in our community as a whole. And I mean no harm to anyone, because if we don't speak truth, the first step is you got to admit you got a problem. So when we look at our literacy place, our math places, our graduation places, when we look at the generational problems with this, that's why I see them where I see them. So I'm coming to say, what can be done to figure out how to more effectively work together? Instead of literally, I cannot believe that this is the amount of time and energy that is being put on trying to dissolve work that is positive. And then the last thing I'll say is this. You know, I'm not involved in partisan politics anymore because of my job. But when it comes to the plight of our young people, in the work that I have done in the past, I saw that in 2006, we were failing our children. I stood right here to say that we needed to do something different, and it was not received. And I see I'm over time, but please let me finish. I saw that we had not done what we needed to in math, in reading, in graduation rates, and suspensions. So I came to say we should do something different. I was not embraced. I then saw us continue to fail our students, and the number of schools that were failing our kids, I saw it rise in numbers. So I literally tried to do something and give. I was not received. Then my colleagues on the other side of the aisle that I was on tried to do something, and I literally stood with them because we needed to do something different. And we had more schools that failed. And then our then state superintendent changed the standard so that the 55 schools wasn't failing. Listen, we can't spend our way away from this. We have to admit that there is a fundamental crack in what is happening. And as a result, if you fail at your end, they come to my end. And everyone is not thinking about why they come to my end. They just thinking about what to do to make it where they ain't there no more. You know, they not continue to have havoc in our community. So I'll end with, if the bureaucracy is so difficult that we can't put our children on a path to work, we can't put them on a path to literacy, we're not figuring out how to include parents for that, something is broken. And one of the only, and no disrespect, but directors that I've seen that's tried to be extremely creative and think out the box has been Director Carr. I would ask you to please not be dismissive of it, but figure out how to be inclusive of it. Because nothing will change if nothing changes. They call it insanity.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Those were the words of now Judge Lena Taylor as she attended last night's school board meeting to give her words of support to Director Carr, but also let board members know if they fail on their end, then they come and see her in her courtroom. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call, That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call, That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call, That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Regulators! Round two, second round two. Hey, this is Mr. Winky Blue, and I want to invite you to another fabulous town hall fish fry where the rednecks in the woods and the thugs in the hood collide, and we set that mess to the side.
If you know like I know, you don't want to step to this.
Hey, this is Greg Kennedy, and I'm cordially inviting you to our second town hall meeting, April 26, 5:30 p.m. You want to be there. Free vapes will be sponsored by Cool Breeze Vape Company. The first 50 people through the door will receive those. Food will be provided as long as supplies last. This is another Winky Blue production, and you don't want to miss it. April 26, 5:30 p.m., 100 Gems Restaurant, 6727 North Titonia Avenue. Security enforced. Don't meet us there, beat us there.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Learn from the experts at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Their faculty is recognized worldwide as leaders in their fields. As a future student, you'll get to know your professors in small classes and through hands-on learning opportunities. They also offer more than 200 programs to choose from. Plus, new freshmen are automatically considered for merit scholarships. You can receive up to $6,000 over 4 years. Find out why thousands of students are choosing UWM. Apply now at uwm.edu/admissions. That's uwm.edu/admissions.
All insurance companies, they want to know where are your cars housed. Right. They want to know how far are you driving to get to and from work every day. Mm-hmm. They want to know all these different things for weather patterns. Are you living in northern Wisconsin or are you living down in Tornado Alley somewhere in Kentucky? These things make a difference as to how your insurance rates are formed. I need you to be factual, and every single time somebody commits these different frauds, it all adds up, and everybody ends up paying the price for it down the road.
Erie Insurance, providing the protection you need and the service you expect, all at a great price.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
He was the entrepreneur. He was an icon in the black community. He was the entrepreneur. He was better than Robin. He was selling death in the community.
Let me tell you what's crazy. So we get a text message from LT who kind of hates black people, which is par for the course because a lot of black people hate black people. So he starts his text message saying, "Happy Tay Day." Not Juanita Jackson, a community activist who's beloved by many who was murdered, where we actually have an actual Tay Day. Dude is talking about Taylor Swift. I just had to take a moment just to be disgusted by that. Apparently Taylor Swift, who is like the Panera Bread of music, just like generic. She's just like a chain restaurant of music. She's like Applebee's. She's like $1.99 margaritas at Applebee's. Nothing special about her music, but she goes, the white people go crazy for her. I don't know why, because she's boring. She is as spicy as mayonnaise. Anyways, LT says, happy Tay Day. Then he says, the failures of MPS are too complex to just blame racism. Yes, it is a big part of it, hypothetically. If Tamika doesn't make her kids go to school or do their homework and they're in 8th grade reading out of 3rd grade level, that is not the fault of racism necessarily. Racism obviously is a huge issue, and it has its dirty fingers and almost every aspect of our lives. But to dismiss self-accountability as self-hate is irresponsible. So a couple of things with that, LT. You wrote that at probably like a 3rd grade level, but we're not going to say anything about that. The reason why racism is the sneaky little bugger that it is, because LT references the hypothetical single black mother who's not making her kids go to school. LT, that's because she has to work 3 jobs, kind of like you do. And MPS probably failed her too. See, that's how it actually works. Racism in this country has failed successive generations of black people. And then when the failures all come to a head, when the minority of people who have been failed, minority racially, have been failed and they become the majority, then their failures as individual people and as a group become more evident. So what do? We simply blame them and not the trail of policies and initiatives and executive orders and rules and laws that have created black failure in the first place. That is what we oftentimes dismiss, because it's easy to blame a black person for being lazy. In fact, it's boring. It is. It's getting tired, because we only became lazy when we stopped working for free when slavery ended. So what do? We blame black people for how the system that was designed to fail us is successful. There's nothing more frustrating than that, because these are conversations that I have with white people. Well, how come, you black people just don't do right by your kids? Coming from the white people that have money that can pay somebody else to raise their kids. Oh, they pay the tutor. They pay the nanny. While in our community, you have too many people that have got to spend so many of their waking hours trying to make ends meet, and then dealing with a county sales tax increase, then dealing with a city sales tax increase, then dealing with a Milwaukee Brewers stadium tax increase. Their rent is going up. They don't have time. Time is a luxury that some people take for granted. If you have time, sure, maybe you'll help your kids with your homework. But even though my parents had time, my schoolwork was always my responsibility, and they made it my responsibility. So I think that's another cop-out when we blame parents. How many of y'all, I want a show of hands here, every day you came home, thank you, Benjamin, you even know what the damn question is. He raised his hand already. You came home from school and you sat down with both parents and you went over all your homework. That didn't really happen. Both of my parents worked. They told me that my job, my only job, they were going to take care of me. They was going to put food on the table, clothes on my back. I was going to have a nice house. We were going to have heat. We were going to have all the amenities. My job was my education. It was my only job. They said, we'll take care of everything else, but this is your job. I think we just find excuses to not blame the institutional racism that still affects black people, because if we don't put our laser focus on what institutional racism did and continues to do to us, they're going to keep doing it. It's like when I got to teach the elementary class on institutional and structural racism, I don't expect any black people to be in the class. It's for white people, because they don't get it. They're like, oh, how come you can't just do what we did? Well, because first of all, the equity that created the wealth that exists in your family, we were legally, we were omitted from even buying houses. We couldn't even buy a house in certain neighborhoods where the schools were better, where the amenities were better, where the services were better, where they had grocery stores and fresh fruits and vegetables. We couldn't even purchase houses there. Well, how come you just can't do what we did? Because of the institutional racism that put black people at a constant disadvantage. Because here's the thing, we've never really caught up. And what we do is we get fooled and we get mesmerized by a handful of black people that become successful. With 46, 47 million black people in this country, of course somebody's going to be successful. But the vast majority of us have no wealth. If you don't have money, you can't make it. You cannot make it. You are at the mercy of whatever government programs exist. And if they decide to cut them, that's it. Please stop thinking that a black person can just go and get a job. And I think all of you know that's not true, because everybody who is listening to me right now has dealt with unemployment. You are underqualified. You are overqualified. You're submitting resumes. They're not calling you back. We even talked about the numerous studies that they do. We talked about names last week. I think it was last week, Friday. If you have an African-American sounding name, the likelihood you'll even get called back regardless of your qualifications is dramatically reduced because of your name. Are you going to blame the child for that or blame the person for that because of their name? They're not getting a call back? No. That's the institutional racism I'm always trying to tell you all about. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be back for hour 2.
1017 The Truth and Associated Bank have teamed up for our Black-owned business give back. Each quarter, we'll be giving away $6,000 worth of free commercial advertising for 3 months to 5 Black businesses. To sign up for your business's chance to win $6,000 of commercial campaign marketing on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, visit blackbusinessgiveback.com. That's blackbusinessgiveback.com. Let's rebuild our community's backbone through exposure on the truth. For official rules, head to blackbusinessgiveback.com. Associated Bank, member FDIC.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Yes, who am I speaking with?
Sherwin Hughes, you just won $5,000! $5,000, Patricia! You're rich, not really, not intergenerational wealth, but you just won $5,000!
What would you do with $5,000?
Oh, well, I am going to pay some bills. Oh, my God.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
And look at how Black, powerful people are covered in the media and portrayed. We're not talking about their innocence or guilt. We're talking about how it is handled. It is an attempt to continue to perpetuate the stereotype that Black, powerful, wealthy people can only be Black, powerful, wealthy people based on their criminal activities. And that is not consistent with other races or genders.
You're so right when you look at a lot of the people that have risen to prominence. With Bishop T.D. Jakes, man of the cloth, after you reach a certain point and it's, he's this or he's doing that, and tied him to Diddy. And the thing is, that is the common theme. And this goes back to the 60s. It goes back to Dr. King and Malcolm X and being on the FBI most wanted list.
Tune in to all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows all day, every day by downloading the Truth app.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
You are listening to the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. There's so many things that are coming at working class people in this city, but not just here, but all over the place. Don't underestimate the impact of the increase in taxes without an increase in wages. So technically, if your wages are not going up consistent with that of inflation, then you're actually losing money. So if you are making $15 an hour. Remember when the whole protest and the fight for $15 an hour was all the rage, and we still haven't raised the national minimum wage to $15 an hour? Even if we raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour right now, I promise you it is not nearly enough. We got to be like $30 now, because that was before we had double-digit inflation. And when you put a bunch of money into the economy and you call it stimmies, I ain't gonna lie to you. I love when the stimmies hit. Oh, it was fantastic. We didn't think for a second that there might be long-lasting impacts and reverberations from the government just printing more money when there was no associated productivity along with that money. So the thing about the supply of money, money gets its value from its rarity and its scarcity. But if you continue to pump money into the economy, then the value of the dollar is going to go down. If the value of the dollar is going to go down, then your regular everyday items are going to become more expensive. You're going to have to spend more dollars because the value of the dollar has gone down. We didn't think of that. We was just checking our bank accounts every morning, and then we put it on social media. You get your stimmy? I got my stimmy. You get your? Where your stimmy at? I'm going to call somebody. Who do I call? 1-800-STIMMY hotline. Where's my stimmy check? So then we deal with inflation, because we put so much money into the economy, and the government told everybody essentially to stop working, but they're like, no, it's okay. We'll give you a bunch of money. Here's the thing. At the time when the coronavirus was a novel virus, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Let me tell you why. Because, the previous president, not the old guy right now, not him. The other old guy that was in, the fascist, him, he threw away the pandemic playbook, so we essentially had to start all over again. You know who puts together the pandemic playbook? The black one. Why black folks always saving y'all? We're going to get tired of saving y'all. And white people, you're going to slowly start to sink into the minority, and I assure you, you are absolutely going to hate it. And you're going to be relying on us for how we were able to manage being minorities, and we're not going to tell you. We're just going to say, good luck. Oh, you're going to hate it, white folks. It's going to suck real bad. You're going to talk, and nobody's going to listen. We're probably going to take money away from your kids. It's going to be rough. So we had no pandemic playbook. You had Donald Trump telling people to inject bleach and just go out in the sunlight, and COVID would naturally go away by itself. In some regards, we underestimated COVID. In other aspects, we overestimated it. We still did a lot of overestimating when it came to schools, and we're still seeing the impacts of that now because we changed a lot of young people's routines permanently. I got a story here talking about truancy rates have remained high since the pandemic because for such a long period of time, young people got used to not going to school. And that's going to be a hard situation to try and rectify. So if people are being squeezed, because inflation is still a thing. In fact, it was ticking down for a little while. I think we were at roughly 3% a month, and then I think it ticked back up. Of course, the stock market reacted to that, meaning if you are not making more money, if you're not getting consistent pay increases and raises, you technically are making less money. But just in Milwaukee, in the last calendar year, our taxes have gone up exponentially, and they're going to continue to go up because this referendum just passed. So what's happening is working class people and poor people are getting squeezed. And so what we're not going to do is blame them for the pressure that they feel, because there is no mood or mode or sentiment to want to raise their wages. The beginning of the year, January 1st, 2024, there was a dozen or more cities that took it upon themselves to raise their minimum wages. You guys know that Milwaukee can actually do that? We can do that. Some years ago, we had a referendum on the ballot, back when referendums made sense. Now they're just here to confuse you and to hurt you if you answer them wrong. There was a referendum that would have granted 5 paid sick days to every working person in the city of Milwaukee. They put it on a referendum and asked us, the voters in Milwaukee. I think it was on the 2006 or 2008 ballot. Hey, do you want every worker in Milwaukee to get 5 paid sick days? Because what we don't think about is we don't think about the single mom or the single dad that has a couple of different part-time jobs in which they get no sick days. They don't get any days off, meaning if they don't go to work, they may get fired if they can't find someone to fill in for them. And more importantly, they don't get paid if they have to take a day off. Imagine you got to take your baby to the doctor, or you got a sick relative you got to take care of, or if you're sick, for God's sakes. And I was really upset when that referendum passed, but then it wasn't enforced by the previous mayor, Tom Barrett, because he fell victim to the power and the whims of business interests in the city that didn't want to pay people for 5 sick days. 5 sick days in a year? You got to think about this. You guys like to go out to eat. I like to go out to eat too, a lot. I want to go out to eat this weekend. Sometimes I just think about all the restaurants that I want to go to because I love going out to eat. Do you want your server to be sick? You ever get a runny nose where it's real runny? It just bloop and it just drips out. You can't even catch it. It just drips. I bet you there's been a server at some point at some restaurant in this city that wanted to take the day off. They couldn't take the day off because they don't have any sick days. And they bring in you whatever you order, your grilled cheese sandwich and your tomato soup, and whoop, a little snot. It's just a little, not a lot of snot. It's the real clear runny kind. Just bloop, and it splashes in your soup. So for whatever reason, Tom Barrett decided he was not going to put any executive or legislative action behind a referendum that would have given workers in Milwaukee 5 sick days, 5 paid sick days. It passed 70 to 30%. And I'd imagine those 70% are probably the workers in our city, and the 30% were people that own businesses or were looking to own businesses, didn't want to pay people 5 days in which they could take off to take care of themselves if they were sick, take care of a sick child or a sick relative, et cetera, et cetera. So you had that. There's also the increased cost of everything, which a lot of y'all blame Joe Biden for. Gas was cheaper under Trump. Everything was cheaper under Trump. There was less inflation under Trump. Okay, fair enough. I'll give you that. Even though Trump had very little or probably nothing to do with that, things have gotten more expensive. And all we're doing is we're just raising prices and raising taxes. And inflation is still a thing that we have to contend with. But there has been nothing, no attempts, no actions to raise the minimum wage in this city. And so people are getting very frustrated because they're feeling all of the tension. They're feeling all of the pressure, and things are getting more expensive. And seeing what they're trying to do to school board members, not to mention what we have going on in November. That's going to be a monumental presidential election, and people just need this outlet or they're going to explode. And we saw some of that explosion last night on 52nd and Valete. So we got the RNC coming. I need to figure out what I'm going to do for that week. If I'm going to stay in town, if I'm going to participate in RNC activities, I don't know. If they give me access, then yeah, maybe I'll consider staying in town. But in preparation for the RNC, they are the city of Milwaukee, members of the Common Council, upon the signature of the mayor, have reorganized protest rules. Now, you know I don't like that. Legislative and executive officials, government cannot tell the people where the people can be in the people's city. Everything from their reimbursements to their salaries, to their cell phones that we pay for, to their clothing allowances that we pay for, to the very pavement of these streets belongs exclusively to the residents, the citizens, and the taxpayers of this city. Those that we pay with our tax dollars do not have the constitutional authority to put rules on when and where we can be. I even believe that curfews are unconstitutional. Now, they're used sparingly if there's a particular emergency where the curfew is necessary to protect people's safety, but they still reek of a lack of constitutionality because the government, so that's the whole freedom of speech thing that I talk about. You can't go and cuss your boss out and say, hey, freedom of speech, but you can cuss out your government, and your government can't fine you nor put you in jail. And this is precisely what they are doing. Because when the RNC comes, they have redefined for that week where you can be, what time you can protest, where you can give your speeches. If you want to march through the city, whose streets, our streets, that whole thing, they make you sign up on a website now. And you got to put in your name and all your information, and then the government itself is going to assign you a time and a place in which you can speak in your city on your streets, because this damn convention is coming here to nominate a fascist. So you have a group of folks who are vehemently opposed to the government's overreach. We're talking about local government here. We're talking about municipal government here in the city of Milwaukee. Oh, by the way, the ones who are responsible for raising our sales taxes. And then what's the first thing that they do? Give themselves a raise. That's the kind of stuff that's frustrating people. I'm seeing all this stuff come to a head. It's like everything is bubbling under the surface. And what I don't want to happen is everything explodes in the city of Milwaukee in July when the weather is going to be hot and Donald Trump is going to be flaunting around our city because he wants to be the dictator. So there's a group of individuals that met at City Hall yesterday to challenge these new ordinances that they are putting in place to limit the people's ability to have grievances and to have redress against their government. So I'm going to take a break, come back. We're going to talk about this website where you have to go and sign up. And you know what they're going to do, because the Secret Service is involved? If you go and sign up on the website because you want to speak or you want to protest during the RNC, which you shouldn't have to sign up on a government website to be able to do that, they're going to put your name on a list, and the Secret Service is going to vet you. That's exactly why they're doing this. Otherwise, they would just say, hey, everybody, if you want to protest, just come to Pierre Marquette Park from 5 a.m. until 12 midnight, and that's where you can go and assemble and gather, because they are going to have some streets blocked off during the convention. But no, they want your name and your address and your information, because you're all going to end up being on a Secret Service list. And I don't trust what they do with that list, especially if Donald Trump gets elected president in November. And from where I'm sitting right now, he just might. They picked his jury in the New York hush money case. Ain't no jury anywhere in this country that's going to convict Donald Trump. Because it's a criminal case, if there's one person that thinks that Donald Trump is innocent, because there's no way you can find 12 individuals that would all vote to convict Donald Trump. There's always one. There's always one. You know what that's going to do to his political capital? If he beats the system, he's going to be literally invincible. So I'm taking a break, come back, talk about the group of courageous individuals who are challenging the city of Milwaukee as they attempt to limit the voices of free speech during the fascism. Oh, I'm sorry, during the Republican National Convention. Sorry, I slipped. Like, it's going to be Nazis here and the Confederates. I don't think they want this smoke. Milwaukee is not the place for that. They're going to be coming from all over the country, from Alabama and Tennessee. We're going to go up to Milwaukee and support our man Trump. And then once they get here, we made us a terrible mistake. I think we're going to head on back to Alabama. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it is Denise Thomas from Truth Be Told with DT and Telly, and I am so excited for you to tune in to our monthly interview with Old National Bank. Old National Bank will be joining us to discuss why they are so committed to supporting women and people of color-owned businesses, while also discussing their Empowerment Loan Program, which can provide your business access to funds up to $5 million. So don't miss our Truth Be Told monthly interview with Old National Bank at 8 a.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. The Empowerment Small Business Loan Program, we're talking about up to $5 million, which for small business owners,
We need that. That's like payroll, that's resources. So can you just let us know, what is the program and why is this lending program so important to Old National Bank?
Years ago, our CEO, Jim Ryan, this program is his brainchild. He was working with Roland Shelton, who you know, Denise, out of Evansville, and they identified that African-American business owners, Hispanic business owners, Native American business owners, as well as women business owners had a difficult time in obtaining financing from the traditional credit partners. And so we went out, created a program, launched it last year, 2023. And so far last year, we have helped over 100 successful minority and women-owned businesses with about $25 million in loans. We've already started this year with almost $8 million in approvals, again, geared toward minority business owners and women business owners that normally had difficulties in obtaining traditional credit finance.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because our home policies help protect your dreams and come with peace of mind. Save up to 25% by bundling home, auto, and life. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Discounts may not apply to all coverages on an auto or home policy. Discounts do not apply to life insurance policies. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey Milwaukee, my name is Martina, and I'm with the Independent Living Supports Pilot Program team. We help adults 55 plus and those 18 plus living with disabilities, providing up to $7,200 for home services, medical equipment, home modifications, and more. There's less than 30 days left to sign up for this program. See if you qualify today. Call 414-289-6874. Again, that's 414-289-6874. This program is made possible by Milwaukee County and Wisconsin Department of Health and Human Services.
Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May, score free play, cash, one of 4 new Toyota GR86s, or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries. 5 times the entries on drawing days, and when the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes? Slugger, only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
An ordinance laying out demonstration rules during this summer's Republican National Convention is in place, passed by the Common Council and signed by Mayor Cavalier Johnson last month. I get it. Milwaukee needs to continue to showcase itself. I understand that. I really do. Cities are, you know how they say a city is incorporated? You ever go out to a little small town where all they have is, I don't know, moonshine stills and meth labs, and it says unincorporated? Because it's not yet a corporation. The city of Milwaukee was incorporated. Essentially, it became a business. It became a company that has residents and has voters and has dwellings and buildings and can collect taxes in 1846. We became a corporation. In our incorporation, we need to collect revenue so we can have amenities, so we can have a baseball stadium and a basketball arena, and we can have a place for festivals and parks for recreation and all the stuff we have going on at the Summerfest grounds. We have to have more of that because that brings in more revenue. And we want to showcase, oh, Milwaukee is great. Come here and have your convention. We had the DNC convention in 2020. Wasn't much of a convention because it was mostly virtual because of the COVID. And so then we have this opportunity to get the Republican convention. And so if you look at it from a business perspective, you know, it makes a lot of sense because we want more people to come to Milwaukee and spend their money here and pay our higher taxes on everything. And hopefully, just hopefully, we get some of that revenue back. Like, that's the whole point of having a Class A city. Like, we have all the fun stuff here. People are now starting to admit that suburbs suck really, really bad. They're terrible. They're very boring. There's nothing out there but sadness and nannies and tutors. City's where it's at. It's where everybody comes to go out to dinner and go to shows and all this other stuff, right? The problem is the money that we generate, and we generate more money as a city, as a county, than dozens of counties put together. So we have all these amenities here. We want all the conventions here because if somebody brings their convention here, maybe they'll bring their convention back every single year. And we here in the city of Milwaukee should be reaping those benefits, right? So when people come here and they spend money, they rent a car because there's a tax on renting a vehicle. They get a hotel, a whole bunch of different hotel taxes. When they purchase things, they're paying sales taxes. Well, that money is generated in Milwaukee because this is the city in which they are visiting, in which they are driving that rental car, in which they're buying gas for the rental car because they're paying taxes on every single gallon of gas. So just the existence of Milwaukee creates a tremendous amount of revenue. Here's the problem, though. All of that revenue that gets generated goes to Madison. Sales taxes and other types of taxes that are collected, aside from property taxes, and somebody who's here for a week or a weekend convention ain't buying a house and paying property taxes. They're paying sales taxes and other types of taxes on goods and services that they purchase. Well, all of that sales tax money goes to Madison. Madison, the legislature is controlled by Republicans. The Republicans put together the budget. So even though Milwaukee has the amenities and has the attractions and has the arenas and the professional sports teams, the money that we generate goes to a political party that is still seeking to disenfranchise the voters in this city. So even though we have all of the stuff here that people want to do, the money that we make in this city goes to the Republicans in Madison. Now, Tony Evers is a Democrat. He is our governor, but he doesn't have nearly as much power, latitude, and authority as the entire Republican-controlled state Senate and state assembly. They are making the rules on our money. And that's problematic because you're telling the people, hey, having these conventions in Milwaukee is a good thing because it's going to bring revenue. But we don't get enough of that revenue back. And I think that Milwaukee is okay being the sugar daddy for the other 71 counties because you got to keep in mind the amount of money that is generated in the city of Milwaukee with just the sheer number of people that live here and pay property taxes here and purchase things here. And it's great when people come in from out of town and buy stuff for the weekend, but we're the residents here. We buy stuff every single day. So a disproportionate amount of that money, that sales tax revenue that goes to Madison is our money. And so there's an agreement, or there used to be one, where state government says, hey, Milwaukee, thank you for contributing $25 billion or whatever it is in sales tax revenue. Here, we're going to give you a tax return. We're going to give you generated $25 billion. Boom, here's $5 billion for you. We would actually be okay with that split, but that's not the split that we're getting. Not even close. But the money that's generated here pays for schools and pays for roads and pays for bridges and pays for infrastructure in other counties. And they give us the smallest share back because they know if you underfund a city, especially certain neighborhoods, because we got to think about when we get our shared revenue, well, where are we going to put it? You got to put it into the places that gross the most money, downtown. We don't have enough shared revenue to invest in neighborhoods and communities. And what happens? They begin to deteriorate. What happens? Their schools begin to fail because of underfunding. And then what do? We blame one another. And this is all a ploy designed by the Republicans. And now they're going to choose our city to have their convention, which puts us in a very unusual catch-22. Because on one hand, we want the convention here because of the revenue that it will bring. But on the other hand, the revenue that is generated is going to go to the same Republicans that are going to disenfranchise us or attempt to when we go and vote in November. It's literally the wrong kinds of people and the wrong kind of political sentiment that's making choices on our money. Because if you listen to the people that went to the school board meeting last night, Black people will tell you exactly where the money needs to go, but nobody listens to us. And that's one of the plagues of being a minority, even if you are the majority in your city. I remember when the Bucks just stopped playing basketball because of the George Floyd protest. They just said, nah, we ain't playing no more basketball. And Giannis and both of the Lopez brothers were out there. Pat Connaughton was out there, too, because secretly Pat Connaughton is actually a black man. They stood 10 toes down with the members of this community They were very upset, not just because of the COVID lockdowns, but also because of what happened to George Floyd. They said, we ain't playing no more basketball. We're going to get out here in the streets with the people, and we're going to march. I'll never forget seeing those images of Giannis at the front of this protest line marching through downtown. If only we could have stood on the same principles and denied the Republicans access to our city for their convention. That man is not fit to be president, and he is going to be coronated like he is a king in our city. And the revenue that is going to get generated from coronating a king who is a wannabe dictator fascist is going to go into the hands of the same Republicans in Madison that want to see Milwaukee fail. How proud I would have been if the mayor would have said, you know what, we really appreciate the fact that you have selected Milwaukee to hold your Republican National Convention, but because of who we are and because of who that party is, we respectfully decline. It'll be other conventions that'll come here. We don't need you that bad to where we want to be the city responsible for potentially ending democracy. The last time I talked to the mayor, well, not the last time I talked to him, we talked about the United Negro College Fund Gala. The time before that, he was in studio reluctantly. And I asked him about the Republican convention because I felt the same way about the Republican convention since I found out that we got it. I'm like, this not going to be worth the money. It's not going to be worth whatever revenue Madison is going to get because we have our convention here. And I told the mayor, because I'm familiar with, so Memphis and Dallas, two great American cities, but they have this cloud over their head. And Memphians who are old school, who born and raised and lived in Memphis. So about a third of my family actually is from Memphis and live in Memphis. And then what do you call somebody from Dallas? A Dallasonian? They have this dark cloud over their head because Dallas's dark cloud is because as wonderful as Dallas is, and a bunch of y'all probably are looking at moving to Dallas and other places in Texas, they're still the city that killed JFK. And they can never get away from that. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes on in Dallas, but they're still the city. When you look it up on the Wikipedias or on the Googles, that is where JFK essentially lost his mind, literally. Memphis, as wonderful as Memphis is, that's the city that killed Dr. King. And anyone who is a native Memphian will tell you, man, we have this dark cloud over our head, even though we're a wonderful American city. Kind of a lot of crime, though, but neither here nor there. Milwaukee could potentially face the same fate when we nominate Donald Trump here. We might be the city that is responsible for the ending of American democracy. And it's already starting to bleed into the rights that we have as American citizens by requiring us to go to a website to sign up to be able to march, protest, and speak in our own city if you are vehemently against the Republican convention coming here. There'll be violence, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you that right now. And they know that there will be. That's why they're bringing in law enforcement from all over the country. And so the question that this particular group may have, I'm going to talk about this group in a second, is are these out-of-town cops from all over jurisdictions all over the country that are going to descend here in Milwaukee to provide additional security? Because there probably will be some violence. Are they going to be wearing body cameras? Now, we know that that is specific to City of Milwaukee police officers. But if you have cops that are coming here from Chicago or the Twin Cities, Detroit, Michigan, are they going to be wearing body cameras too? Because whenever you tell people that have been squeezed, we're being squeezed because we're being disrespected at the school board level. We're being squeezed because the county sales tax went up. We're being squeezed because the city sales tax went up. We're being squeezed because of the MPS referendum where all of our property taxes are going up. And guess what, renters? You're going to be included in this too. Your landlord is already raising your rent. They already got the letters ready to go out if you haven't received it already. People are being squeezed. And then at the same time, you tell them, well, you can only protest between these hours and these hours on these streets between this block and this block. An ordinance laying out demonstration rules during this summer's Republican National Convention is in place, passed by the Common Council and signed by Mayor Cavalier Johnson last month. But that does not mean the debate is over. Instead, the city is engaged in discussions with local activists about a range of concerns and questions they voiced as the countdown to the event drops below 90 days. They've argued the ordinance creates a liability for protest organizers, and they're questioning everything from whether police agencies outside of Milwaukee will be required to wear body cameras to where anyone who is arrested will be taken. But in a recent meeting on the city's south side, they've also raised a fundamental question: how or if their comments will make any difference as the city barrels toward July 15th through 18th event. Ashanti Hamilton, director of Milwaukee's Office of Community Wellness and Safety, said the answer is yes. I'm going to take a pause there, come back, and we'll take a phone call. Looks like Al is calling to share his wonderful thoughts. If you want to be like Al, 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We Energies want you to keep this important safety message in mind. Before you start digging, planting, or landscaping on your property, call 811 to have underground utilities marked. Calling 811 at least 3 business days before you plan to dig will help you know what's below and can prevent a hazardous situation. Our representatives will mark the underground utilities on your property for free. So remember, stay safe and call before you dig.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Sherwin Hughes with his truth.
I think you're spoiled. You have too many choices. We sometimes forget that having choice is a luxury. I can remember when I was a little kid, I either ate what my mother cooked for dinner or I starved. I didn't have the luxury of choice. Now we can choose anything and everything. We can choose which apps we want to be a part of. We can go and pick a new mate. We can decide what food we want to order. We have an unlimited amount of choice, and I think that we forget that choice is a luxury. You are either a winner or you're a loser. You're either going up or you're going down. You're either free or a slave. You are either woke or you are asleep. Those are called binary choices, and it's tough for people to understand just having two choices in a world that inundates us with unlimited choice. I know you don't like the candidates that are on your ballot come November. Guess what? They probably don't like you either. But you only have a binary choice. You either want this country to excel and succeed and explore new industries and be honest and fair about racial inequity. You either believe in climate change or you don't. You believe in democracy or you don't. You want a country that will do whatever it can to help people, all people, regardless of gender identity, regardless of national origin, or you want to take the low road and vote for the person that only wants to help himself with no regard for anyone else. Choice is a luxury. Unfortunately, too many of us forget that it's a luxury. Binary choice is all you have in November. I hope you choose wisely.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Let me take you to a place I know you wanna go. It's a good life. Hey, yeah. I don't wanna stand around.
But in a recent meeting on the city's south side, a protest group raised a more fundamental question: how or if Their comments will make any difference as the city barrels toward the July 15th through 18th Republican National Convention event. Ashanti Hamilton, director of Milwaukee's Office of Community Wellness and Safety, said the answer is yes. He acknowledged there is much to do in the remaining months before the massive event arrives downtown, bringing with it tens of thousands of visitors and thousands of police officers from outside the city. Hamilton said local organizers' input would be included. So I'm not involved with this agency in the office. It used to be the Office of Violence Prevention, but they had to change the name, so now it's the Office of, hold on, let me get it right. What is it? The Office of Community Wellness and Safety. Good grief. Probably just a bureaucratic mess. So a lot of the downtown area surrounding the Fiserv Forum and other strategic places where convention goers will be housed and stationed for different events is going to be blocked off, right? It's going to be big fences. Okay, that's all you need to do. If you don't want protesters getting too close to the actual event where Trump could get hit with an egg, then it's all walled off. So when you wall off sections of downtown where you don't want people to be, and we get that because it's a major security situation. It's a major security event, having a convention in your city because the Secret Service is going to be there and all the other people, okay? But then you also don't get to tell protesters where they can be, where they can walk, where they can march, and also when and where they can speak. That's the problem that I have. If you don't want people in certain areas and marching and protesting in certain areas, well, then those are the areas that you have fenced off. And those areas are already fenced off, but they're going above and beyond. See, this, when they say that democracy is ending, this is what it actually looks like. They're telling you what you can and cannot do with your constitutionally protected rights. They don't get to do that. And so what's going to happen is the city is going to get sued. Oh, by the way, you got a new city attorney that basically ran on a partisan platform, which I am vehemently against. I am so upset at the Democratic Party for getting involved in a city attorney's race. I know they didn't like Chairman Spencer, but he actually was doing a really, really good job as city attorney. But the Democratic Party is going to have to answer for this. They put money behind the white city attorney candidate because they didn't like the black one. It's the same Democratic Party. They're going to be good. Sherwin, can we come get on your show to talk about the candidate? Sherwin, can we come and bring our candidates? You're going to have to answer for this. In fact, the Democratic Party got heavily involved in local city of Milwaukee elections, which they should not have. Get involved in the election where you need to save and spend your money, and that's the one that's in November. You numbskulls. I'm over here defending the Democratic Party. They just do a bunch of stupid stuff. Let's talk to Al. Al, you're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you? Al, are you still alive? Al, have you passed away? What would you like us to do with your ashes, Al? Why can we not hear Al? Savannah, Ben, do we know why we can't hear Al on the phone?
Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
You there?
I'm here. Are you there?
Okay, good. You talking about death and all that. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Oh, well, we couldn't hear you. They have my producer distracted.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to say Ashanti Hamilton, he's a liar.
Why is he a liar?
Cavalier Johnson, he's a liar because he said he does something he didn't do. And the worst thing to do is get up in front of a bunch of black people and lie. That old wise saying that some of our parents said, some N-words will lie just for the hell of it when they don't have to. Cavalier Johnson, he's a snake and he's no good. He's a black European, and when they come back to ask for some more money, he's going to sign for it. Ron Johnson, he's a double-talking liar and he's a bootlicking racist, but he won't come out and say his racist stuff. He'll talk around it. No respect for him. And David Crowley, remember these words, money is money, but he didn't tell you even though money is money, you're going to be disrespected to your face. Because when black people was losing money, it was nothing. Money is money. It's only money is money because white people was coming. So with that being said, I was going to ask you if you could play that song by, I think her name is Linda Rostat, You're No Good, You're No Good. Maybe you should play that so all these politicians who know they are nothing but liars, who need pacifiers, who are working for master, who sits here and try to lie to black folks just for the hell of it, they can just hear that song because that's the song that represents them. Every day they walk, every day they talk, even when they fart, they will know they are no damn good. Wait, hold
on, Al. What's the name of the song now?
It's the name of the song is You Know Good. You Know Good, You Know Good. It's by Linda Ronstadt, R-O-N.
Linda Ronstadt, man. It's Ronstadt.
It's one of them. At least I tried. But yeah, I think that song will be definitely good for their character and their integrity. Every day they walk, every day they talk, every day they sit, every day they fart, every day they spit. Every day they look in the mirror, they will know they are no damn good. And I want all y'all to have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. We appreciate that. We don't play Linda Ronstadt music here. Isn't that a country song? Hold on, let me see. Hang on a second, everybody.
Feeling better now that we're through. Feeling better 'cause I'm over.
It's kind of a bop a little bit. Sounds real 70s.
Even when they be farting and spitting, you tell them that they no good.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune in to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on Wednesday, May 1st, as he will be broadcasting live from the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Milwaukee's College Signing Day, presented by Direct Supply. He'll speak with students from the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Milwaukee about their journey through high school to college, their career aspirations, and the over $1 million in scholarships they have earned to attend college. The Truth's coverage of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Milwaukee's College Signing Day is sponsored by the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee.
Regulators! Round 2, second round 2. Hey, this is Mr. Winky Blue, and I want to invite you to another fabulous town hall fish fry where the rednecks in the woods and the thugs in the hood collide, and we set that mess to the side.
If you know like I know, you don't want to step to this.
Hey, this is Greg Kennedy, and I'm cordially inviting you to our second town hall meeting, April 26, 5:30 p.m. You want to be there. Free vapes will be sponsored by Cool Breeze Vape Company. The first 50 people through the door will receive those. Food will be provided as long as supplies last. This is another Winky Blue production, and you don't want to miss it. April 26, 5:30 p.m., 100 Gems Restaurant, 6727 North Titonia Avenue. Security enforced. Don't meet us there, beat us there.
Gain skills to lead community-based organizations and develop creative solutions for social change with a bachelor's degree in community engagement and education from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Created in collaboration with the community, this program provides a home for students interested in social justice. Learn alongside diverse students and supportive faculty. The program can be completed fully online, and you can earn credit for professional experience. Learn more by going to uwm.edu/CEED.
Hey Milwaukee, my name is Martina, and I'm with the Independent Living Supports Pilot Program team. We help adults 55 plus and those 18 plus living with disabilities, providing up to $7,200 for home services, medical equipment, home modifications, and more. There's less than 30 days left to sign up for this program. See if you qualify today. Call 414-289-6874. Again, that's 414-289-6874. This program is made possible by Milwaukee County and Wisconsin Department of Health and Human Services.
Happy Financial Literacy Month from Educators Credit Union. If you're dreaming of financial freedom, new ways to pay down debt, or tips to invest in your future, Educators Credit Union can help. They offer budgeting tools, personal finance courses, and debt solutions to turn your financial dreams into reality. Learn more at ECU.com. That is ECU.com. Membership at Educators Credit Union is open to anyone who lives or works in southeastern Wisconsin, and they are federally insured by NCUA.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
One 1017. You can call or text. D. Wood says, until white people in America acknowledge the wrongdoing that they have put up against the blacks in this country, a lot of things with policy and legislation will never change. Well, D. Woods, that's actually the hard part. Let me think of an analogy that would make sense. Because if you talk to them about it now, they'll say, I didn't own any slaves. I didn't have anything to do with that. Then they'll go into telling you all the black people that they voted for. I voted for Cavalier Johnson. I voted for Barack Obama. I have black friends. They don't want to take any responsibility for the privileges that they were granted at birth by being born of European descent in this country. And here's the thing, like, they didn't ask for it, right? They didn't ask for the privileges. They were born into a world that cradled and coddled them and provided them with opportunities first. They got the benefit of the doubt. Their word was more credible than everybody else's just because they were white in this country. And so they don't take any responsibility for that. I didn't cause climate change, but I'm still responsible for it. I'm supposed to recycle. I have an electric vehicle. Like, I'm trying to do things to mitigate a problem that exists and will get worse if unaddressed, even though I didn't cause it. Was that the best example? That's a problem that we're dealing with right now, but I didn't cause it, but I still want to do what I can to try and mitigate it or remedy it. Racism is the same way. And so what a lot of white folks do, some just don't care. They blame black people and it's our fault and we need to figure it out or work harder or pull ourselves up by our bootstraps or whatever. So that's probably 68% of them. And then you probably have another 28% that want to be actively engaged with black people in the struggle. They'll form a group or an organization or a nonprofit, or they want to mentor poor little black kids, or what's something else they want to do. They want to join our rallies and our protests, and they'll wear a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, or they'll put a Black Lives Matter sign in their yard, and they want to know how they can help. That's probably 20%. So 68% don't really care. Like, they may acknowledge racism, but like, oh well, it's just too bad. It's just one of those things. 20% want to be like really engaged, and sometimes they're overbearing. You ever meet one of those ultra lefty, like communist, liberal progressives, and they come to the meetings and they end up taking over? No, here's what you blacks need to do. Like, I'm with you, brother, and you're my brothers and sisters, but here's what we're going to do to fight racism. And this is a white person that'll do this. You guys know liberals like that. FYI, liberals, we appreciate your passion, but when you do that, we literally hate you. We lose faith in all of you. Because they come and they try and take over because they think that they are elevated on this perch in which they know better how to fight and dismantle the system that gave them the advantage to where they think they know better. It's crazy, isn't it? It's like mansplaining, but they race-splain. And then you have the coveted, what percentage I got left? So I said 68% of white people don't care about racism at all. 20% are the overbearing communist, lefty progressives that want to tell black people exactly what we're supposed to do, and they want to write the rules for our anger and our grievances. So I got 12% left. That 12%, those are the ones. Those are the ones that listen more than they talk. Those are the ones that do their best to try and understand from having anecdotal conversations with real black people in our neighborhoods. They come to our churches and they listen. They want to absorb the culture, but they listen more than they talk. See, it's that 12%. They don't try to tell black people what to do and how we should march and how we should protest and how we should organize. Those white people, they go back to their neighborhoods and to their communities, and they deal with racist white people on their own turf. Those are the good ones. 68% don't care, or they care enough to maybe post on social media like, oh, racism sucks, but so does cancer. Then you got 20% that go way too far. They're ultra liberal and progressive, and they tell black people, no, this is what you need to do. How about you just let me run the meeting? I'm a liberal progressive, and I know what you blacks want. Oh, by the way, can you vote for this slate of liberal and progressive candidates? I know they're all white, but I promise they're going to get to your issues at some point because they have an agenda too. And then it's that 12% that are intentional, and they go spend money at black businesses, and they ain't got to put it on Facebook. They go and engage other racist white people. They hear a white person in their family using racist language or talking disparagingly about a racial minority, and they stop them and they correct them, or they dissolve their relationships with other racist white people. But asking white folks to do all of that is way too much because they can just be in the 68% and just live off of their privilege. As long as they know that their privilege will erode in time. Let's talk to Adam. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I'm great for an old guy.
All right. What's on your mind?
I'm calling to find out what kind of electrical car you drive.
It's a hybrid plug-in electric. It's a Chevrolet Volt.
Oh, good. I thought you had one of them Teslas.
No Tesla. Elon Musk is nuts. I used to want a Tesla. Right. I don't want one no more, though, because he's a racist, too.
Thank you. That's what I was calling about. That's just what I was. That man hate us.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. And that Winky Blue guy, he's not right either. He's a Trump man.
I saw him last night. He was at the MPS board meeting.
Well, that's weird because Sharpton had to cut him off one day. So in the Trump, it's unreal. A lot of people talk a lot of stuff, but they're not what they say they are.
Wait a minute, Adam. You mean to tell me that Meach, better known as Winky Blue, got through to the Al Sharpton show and was talking positively about Donald Trump?
Yes, he was. Sharpton cut him off.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, because my radio, my bed, well, I live in an apartment building. My radio is set on you guys' station, and if I hit the AM side, it goes straight to WNOV, and that's where Sharpton's show comes on.
That's right.
And I said, oh wow, this guy here, Sharpton cut him off. That's all I want to say for right now. I listen all the time. Like I said, and I'm old, so. But I feel good for an old guy.
You're not even that old, Adam. You're only as old as you feel. I bet you got plenty of little young girls surrounding you all the time. You ain't that old, man.
Oh no, I don't. Well, I can't say too much.
See there, exactly. You got plenty of little young things running around you.
I got a lady friend, sure.
Oh, you do?
But I don't be doing them things. 20 years ago, yeah, I can't do it. I won't even hardly go out to eat anymore.
Oh, that's no fun.
Let me ask you a question since we're talking about eating. Is Benihana still open?
I don't even know if it is still open. Why you'd even want to go to Benihana? I don't. You like hibachi, where they cook on it right in front of you, and the Japanese dude be throwing shrimp in the air? You like that?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh,
I love it. Yeah.
I don't know if it's still. I haven't been to Benihana in 20 years.
That's about my thing too, because I keep moving back and forth from Texas to Louisiana, and I got two daughters that lives in Georgia, and I'll be going to visit them staying, doing everything. But I'm back in Wisconsin now, and I got a little lonely for Wisconsin.
Benihana is still open. It's on Plankington,
Oh, it is?
850 North Plankington. In fact, they open at 11:30. You want me to call and make you a reservation?
Oh, no, I'll do it myself.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Oh, anytime.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, he said his Benihana's open. I feel like having some shrimp thrown in my mouth. Let's talk to Thomas. You're on 101.7 The Truth.
Hey, good morning, Sherwin.
Hi. What's on your mind?
Hey. Well, Benihana's still open. I don't know, man. You spout all this stuff about racism and stuff, but then you spread that same kind of hate and you stereotype people, not really knowing what people are thinking. And that kind of bothers me.
I'm sure it does, because most white people, when black people speak emphatically about how we feel and how we see the world, most of y'all get hurt, and you always revert back to us sounding racist. Like, that's the one thing that white people have in common, Democrat, Republican, liberal, progressive. When you hear us speak our truth, because here's the thing, when we talk to you, y'all don't listen. But then you come over and listen to our radio stations and have the nerve and have the big bald audacity to say that you sound racist. Then go listen to Rush Limbaugh. Oh, he can't. He's dead. Or go listen to one of them. They'll make you feel
Rush
very
Limbaugh's
comfortable.
Dead, man.
Okay. Well,
Come on.
You got other choices, but what you don't get to do is complain. Thomas, I had to do it. Why do they do that? And here's what's crazy. So former MPS teacher, you guys know him. He's called a whole bunch of times. Got real mad when I was talking about the referendum stuff. Talked about when he was an assistant principal at a middle school or elementary school that they suspended 20 or 30 kids. Black kids. I was like, 20 or 30 kids. I'm like, that's a lot for a year. He was like, no, a day. And then had the audacity to tell us that if a child looked at one of those teachers wrong, they would suspend that child. No wonder why 80% of the suspensions in MPS this year has been black children. 16,000 of them already. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
Tap into Milwaukee's most entertaining morning show.
Good morning to you. Man, I love y'all two. Y'all two now, man, talk about keeping it real. Man, I just love y'all too. So you all keep on with keeping on. I love y'all. Thank you so much for making my morning.
So I need people like Miss Dee Dee to start my day off, Telly, every morning.
Listen to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
Hey, Truth Nation, it's your girl Melanie Ricks from Nothing But the Truth, and I am so happy to let you know the best radio show in Milwaukee is now streaming live on YouTube every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. Yes, your daily power hour of nonstop entertainment is coming at you live on YouTube every weekday. So Truth Nation, make sure you don't miss Benjamin and I give our hot takes or our Freaky Friday story by watching us live on YouTube and subscribing to 101.7 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube.
Check out Jammin' with Juice, where it's amazingly juicy.
When Kanye said that slavery was a choice, are you hopping off that ship or are you saying to be a slave?
You are so funny, Juice. Come get your drop of juice.
I wish I could just save everybody in the world who's going through something like that.
And you know you always got a friend in Ben.
Once you do pass down your wisdom to the next person, that's how you ultimately end up freeing the next generation.
From the 414 to everyone across the globe, Jammin' with Juice is here for you.
All the 5 biddies to the flow right now. See, look at that. So ignorant.
It's like a bird call.
Hey, y'all are hilarious.
No stone left unturned.
Is there a difference between hood, ratchet, and ghetto?
I don't know if this man is the devil or the Antichrist.
That was juicy. Okay, that was extremely juicy.
It's amazing.
Check out Jammin' with Juice daily on YouTube.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We are the home of Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Let's read some text messages, shall we? Read them if I dare. 833-212-1017. 833-212-1017. Brian the Flat Earther says, I'm going to read these. Listen to me, y'all. I'm going to read your text messages as you send them. I ain't going to clean them up. So you need to proofread. Brian the Flat Earther says, tell him Benny Haha has pop culture following now. They get the Dave and Buster's crowd now. Young folks are their clientele now. I didn't know that. I haven't been to a hibachi joint. There's one in Pewaukee that I went to in like 2012 or 2013. So that's been 11 or 12 years since I've been to a hibachi. Maybe because I ain't a young person. And I don't want to be a young person. I want to be old just like I am right now. D'Angelo says, Al Sharpton ain't no good. Sandra says, to Sherwin, article from Tribune, 4/16/2025. Wait a minute, Sandra. You sent me an article from next year? And then she says, Sandra sent you that article to Sherwin. Oh, there's a picture here. Sandra, no, you didn't. Sandra took a photograph with her cell phone of a newspaper clipping and sent it to the text message. It says, robot use rising in auto plants. All right. That sucks, I guess. We don't really make all that many cars in America anymore. A lot of our vehicles are made in Mexico and Canada, Sandra. We're not the number one producer of automobiles anymore, and we probably haven't been since the 60s or the 1970s. But if the point of you sending the article, which I clearly can't read right now, is automation taking jobs, then absolutely. Absolutely. Robots don't need sick days. Robots don't need to take time off to go to the dentist. Robots don't need pensions. Robots don't need health insurance. American workers are incredibly expensive. Now, we're supposed to be the best skilled, most highly trained, reliable workers in the world, but I don't know. Look at where customer service is nowadays, and I can only imagine that the customer service that we all lament about when we go to like a fast food restaurant or whatever probably has filtered its way into the assembly line and in the production facility as well. It's cheaper to have self-checkout kiosks. I'd rather like them. I prefer them, in fact, to going and waiting in line for a cashier. Now, it depends on what I'm buying. If I'm buying a lot of produce, where I got to like individually, type in the little code number on my tomatoes and on my green peppers and on my jalapeno peppers and whatever, then I may go to an actual checkout line. But no, I prefer the self-service kiosk. Because here's the thing, the world is becoming much more technically sophisticated, and that is why having a lackluster school system like we have, I shouldn't say lackluster, Far too many schools are performing underneath their potential, considering MPS is one of the highest per pupil funded schools in the country. I need you to let that sink in. They get more money per child than probably 85% of the schools in this country. And a large percentage of those schools that get less money per child are performing better. Now, we may not need people to work, in manufacturing and the assembly lines, et cetera, but we need people that can program the robots. We need people that can program the self-service kiosks at the grocery store. It is a much more technically sophisticated world. And this is another reason why we need immigration in this country. And y'all think about being against immigration, you are going to stop people from coming in this country and taking your jobs. A lot of them, I'm not talking about the people at the southern border, but if you give them 5 years to get ready and to get acclimated into what America is, to learn English and learn how this country actually works, some of them are going to outpace us because they came to this country with a work ethic. Their work ethic is what brought them here. They risked their children's lives, their limbs, everything to come to this country. The amount of time and effort and prayer and hope and faith that they have to have just to make it to America outpaces most of us. But that's why we need like immigrants from China and from India, because they come here already educated. They already have degrees. They already have a level of technical sophistication. Those are people working in the IT departments. Because here's the thing. In some of the most prestigious universities on the planet, those universities are right here in America. Harvard is a big deal. It's a very good university. I think it was a freshman class of either 2017 or 2018. 51% of the incoming freshman class from Harvard University, a famed, storied university that is actually older than the country that it's in. Harvard's first graduating class was 1642. America wouldn't be a country for another 134 years. Very prestigious university. Went to a graduation ceremony out at Harvard. My cousin graduated from Harvard. Very big deal for our family. Boy, oh boy, did I meet some interesting people out there. American kids are too dumb to get into Harvard. And I'm not trying to be funny, but if we don't have some kind of an immigration policy, then Harvard won't be able to admit any students. Just saying. I'm not saying American kids are dumb, but give me a 5-year-old American kid from whatever race, background, give me a rich 5-year-old kid, and then give me a middle-class 5-year-old kid, and then give me a poor 5-year-old kid in America. Okay, I'll have all the rights and privileges of America, okay? Then give me a rich 5-year-old Chinese kid, a middle-class 5-year-old Chinese kid, and a poor 5-year-old Chinese kid. The poor 5-year-old Chinese kid is probably going to be academically superior to the rich 5-year-old American kid. Just saying. Dion says, I can understand where Meach comes from because the Democrats are like the welfare system. We become dependents upon the Democrats to free us or give us liberation, but the Republicans ain't going to give us anything, and now we have to work for it, so we liberate ourselves. Dion, I'm glad you don't vote, because if your understanding of the two-party system is that, then I don't need you anywhere near a voting booth. Let the adults vote, Dion. It's not quite that nuanced. The Democrats have a deeper political understanding for inequality. The Republicans know inequality exists and they use it to their advantage, even if their supporters suffer too. So it's not nearly as elementary as you make it out to be. There has to be a political party that cares about the downside to capitalism and racial discrimination, where some black people weren't able to buy houses, weren't able to have equity, where there was enforced segregation, where black people couldn't travel to certain areas, couldn't take advantage of certain public amenities. There's actually a political party that understands that. There's also a political party that will go above and beyond to attempt to at least invest and promote candidates of color, black candidates in particular. The Republican Party does not want us participating in elections at all because they're trying to make drop boxes illegal, trying to take away mail-in voting. And every election that Republicans lose, because they're losing demographically, they're going to say it's fake. That is not a political party that needs to have any kind of power anywhere in this country. This is a political party that wants the burgeoning minority of white people to still have a disproportionate amount of control. That is why they are obsessed with the courts. That is why they overturned Roe versus Wade. They don't care about children, because if they did, they'd be willing to support early childhood education. They wouldn't try and tell moms in a variety of different states that they can no longer qualify for certain public benefits. Because you would think if the woman agrees with the Republicans and the woman says, okay, I'm not going to have the abortion, but will you help me take care of the baby? And the Republicans say, hell no, we just want you to have it. Let me get back to my article. Let me see. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson signed a new law dealing with the Republican National Convention protests on Wednesday, March 20th. Fiserv Forum will host the 2024 Republican National Convention from July 15th through 18th. The mayor approved a new city ordinance setting up rules and restrictions for protesters. Let me pause right there. Do y'all remember during the George Floyd protests when Donald Trump walked across the street? It was a church right across the street from where a bunch of people were getting their protest on. And he held up that Bible, and his dumbass held the Bible up upside down. Remember that? And he had a whole bunch of photo ops. And then they unleashed the police on peaceful protesters. Y'all remember that in Washington, D.C.? I want you to have that image burned in your mind of how Donald Trump feels about people that are exercising their constitutional right to protest and address a grievance with their government. Okay? He sent the police. They weren't doing anything to anybody. Then those police with their shields and their billy clubs started attacking those protesters. We have signed an ordinance in Milwaukee limiting protests. Do you see the parallel there? And that is why I am so vehemently against them putting together this ordinance and the mayor signing it of where we can and cannot march and speak during the RNC. So the Trump influence has bled its way into a Democratic city. That's the problem that I have. And other city officials, they didn't see that. Like, oh, well, we need to do everything we can to make sure when the Republicans are here in our city that they're safe. You're putting up fencing so you can't get, there's going to be so many areas that are going to be off limits downtown. In fact, they just had a public meeting like a couple of weeks ago talking about all the areas you can't be when the convention comes in. They had a public meeting, a town hall meeting like a couple of weeks ago. So if you don't want protesters to be in certain proximities of where the convention goers are going to be, then you just wall it off, and that's where you put your police. But all of those other streets belong to the people. But the fact that they put in this ordinance that says, well, no, if you want to protest, here are the routes we're going to give you, even though the streets belong to us. And, oh, if you want to speak, you can only do so between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. It was noon until 7 p.m., so if you want to, like, give a speech or if you want to, like, use your voice, you know, your freedom of speech, you can only do so at Pierre Marquette Park in hours set by the city of Milwaukee. That is insane to me. So it was from noon until 7. And Russell Stamper was like, well, we better make it start earlier. We give them 11 o'clock. Thanks, Russ. You gave us an extra hour. The same Russell Stamper who also voted for Jose Perez for council president, nixing his friend Malele Coggs. I didn't really touch on that. We talked about it that day a little bit because I was trying to broadcast the common council vote. But for the first time in this city's history, we have 8 black common council members, which is such an opportunity for us. And they didn't even vote for a black person to be the president of the council. They voted for Jose Perez, which neither here nor there. Let's talk to, hello, Bob.
Hello there, Sherwin. You know, what I wanted to say was there was a an African man teaching a man that talks like me how to be a Salerno butter cookie representative.
How what?
And I shook my head. A Salerno butter cookie representative.
Bob, what the hell is that?
They go into a store, they order how many cookies in Salerno they need, and then the delivery man delivers. You understand?
Not really, but go on.
Okay,
Serrano is a kind of cookie.
Yeah. He goes in there, and they got all kind of representatives from a lot of companies that come into the store. They order, and then the company sends the food, So this African was teaching. He had a very hard accent, teaching a guy to talk like me.
Bob, is this relevant to anything that I'm saying at all today?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It has to do with immigrants. And I shook my head and I said to myself, I don't care how many immigrants they bring into this country, ain't no immigrant gonna outwork me. He gonna unload that truck in 2.5 hours. I will unload it in 2. I've always had that attitude. I had a friend that said he hates these Mexican immigrants. They coming in, they taking my drywall away. I said, get another profession then. I said, you don't have to hate them. And the immigrants that come from Ukraine, I'm sure some of them are prejudiced. And I hear so much, they don't take care of nobody in this country. Look, and some of them are prejudiced. Look, if they're prejudiced, when they come into this country, they're going to see their black mayors, black congressmen, black president, black vice president, black on the Supreme. They'll learn. You got to get that out of your system, man, and get along with black people somewhat, And I just wanted to mention my last point. I think we're going to be dragged into a war. Did you know Israel has bombed Iran?
I'm familiar.
I don't want to be dragged into.
I have intentionally opted not to talk about that because I think that we are in a lot more trouble than people realize. And I'm not very happy with what Israel is doing. And, I can't say nothing about them people. They're real sensitive.
Yeah, that's just one that I wanted to say to you about immigrants. They don't help nobody in this country. Man, these people want to make it. I mean, come on. You're here. Dude, I went to the shelter. I slept in the car. Then I pulled my bootstraps up and said, let me help myself. You're in a country where you can help yourself. Let some of these immigrants help themselves. My goodness, why do y'all hate immigrants? So many people hate immigrants. They're helping nobody in this country. Why you help yourself and don't worry about it? Now, the thing that bothers me is some of these immigrants take people's jobs away, and they fought against that. Yeah, they do, and they lower the cost. 9 or 10 Mexicans will live in a house, and they'll open up a Mexican restaurant. Yeah, that is a point, but that don't mean you hate them. That don't mean you just say they shouldn't come in. Ain't nobody unionizing like they was years ago to stop people from taking jobs. That's one thing that. Oh, and these people that you were talking about that give you food and you don't have to deal with live people.
Huh?
You know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't even know what's going on right now, Bob.
You know them people, those mechanics that will give you food and you don't have to have a real person there. What? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Well, yeah. Come on, Sherwin. I don't know. I'm getting older. I can't think of that word. Mechanics that, that take care of food that in factories.
Bob, you need to lay down, buddy. You need a nap now. Mechanics fix cars.
No. I mean, in factories that do the work and people don't have to do it.
Automation, robots. You talking about?
Robots. I mean, I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. I don't even see why we can't get in the robot.
Bob, go. I gotta go. I gotta take a commercial break. A mechanic
Talk to you later, sir.
Bring you food, and this man over here trying to talk about automation. He said mechanics that bring you food, and it's not a person there. Is the moon full? Savannah, we know the cycle. Something has got to explain what's wrong with people.
I can't tell you. I don't know either. I'm so sorry.
I'm so glad it's almost my damn weekend. I can't wait to get out of this mother. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It started with a prediction.
Go out there and play basketball and win. And how many games? 6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
Regulators! Round 2, second round 2. Hey, this is Mr. Winky Blue, and I want to invite you to another fabulous town hall fish fry where the rednecks in the woods and the thugs in the hood collide, and we set that mess to the side.
If you know like I know, you don't want to step to this.
Hey, this is Greg Kennedy, and I'm cordially inviting you to our second town hall meeting, April 26, 5:30 p.m. You want to be there. Free vapes will be sponsored by Cool Breeze Vape Company. The first 50 people through the door will receive those. Food will be provided as long as supplies last. This is another Winky Blue production, and you don't want to miss it. April 26, 5:30 p.m., 100 Gems Restaurant, 6727 North Titonia Avenue. Security enforced. Don't meet us there, beat us there.
Hey Milwaukee, my name is Martina, and I'm with the Independent Living Supports Pilot Program team. We help adults 55 plus and those 18 plus living with disabilities, providing up to $7,200 for home services, medical equipment, home modifications, and more. There's less than 30 days left to sign up for this program. See if you qualify today. Call 414-289-6874. Again, that's 414-289-6874. This program is made possible by Milwaukee County and Wisconsin Department of Health and Human Services.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as 1 business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Protect your dream home with American Family Insurance. And you can weather any storm. You'll also save up to 25% by bundling home, auto, and life. American Family Insurance. Get a quote. Find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Discounts may not apply to all coverages on an auto or home policy. Discounts do not apply to life insurance policies. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Let's check in with the gallery of peanuts. Those are the individuals that comment on the YouTube video live stream. Barbara says, yeah, not a fan of Thomas at all. I don't know how he can call in and believe he has something positive to add after what he admitted to doing. He should have done what was right back in the day. So he was the one that was an assistant principal at a school, majority black school, where they suspended 20 to 30 kids a day for offenses as minor as looking at a teacher a certain way. They would suspend you. That should be criminal if you ask me. But it's also the reason why the Milwaukee public school system got sued by the Obama administration, because their discipline practices and policies are racist. Literally sued by the federal government. The Obama administration sued MPS. And to this day, I don't know if they've rectified the issues and followed the consent decree. But the worst thing that Thomas did, he's a white fellow that thinks he can save the blacks. And he, a very proud former Milwaukee public schools educator. But then remember when I asked him where he sent his kids to school? One of them goes to a Montessori school. But then his older child, he didn't let go to an MPS high school. He did what all of these white teachers, principals, and administrators do. See, they feed off of the taxpayers in Milwaukee. They'll work in Milwaukee public schools, but they won't send their kids to the high schools and some of the middle schools and elementary schools. What they'll do, and this is what's patently unfair, the white teachers, principals, and administrators at MPS, they fill the seats in the highest performing schools that our children desperately need to be sitting in. And then they'll get their kids in these high performing elementary schools and middle schools, and then for high school, they put them in private schools. There is nothing more hypocritical, but I think this also just thoroughly explains the dichotomy of even white liberals in this nation. They will not put their children in the same schools as your kids. They won't do it. And you would think with MPS getting another $250 million worth of investment that a whole bunch of white folks would want to take another look at sending their kids to MPS. They still ain't going to do it, because I believe that $250 million, that $250 million they got from this most recent referendum, is going to be a double down investment to make sure that black and brown children in MPS continue to fail. At the meeting last night, they're essentially talking about lessening the frequency of the standing committee that exists to engage more parents in their children's education. And every time we talk about education, there's always some Confederate black sellout that says, well, if the parents were more involved. Do you understand that MPS is trying to cut out the committee that actually involves the parents? It's so frustrating. Oh, God. But they send their kids to private schools. Like, if that don't tell you everything you need to know, if you're a teacher or a principal or an administrator in a public school, like, that's where you work. That's where you make your money. You make your salary. And a bunch of them got six-figure salaries. But you won't send your kids to the school that you work at, because when they go to work, they go to suspend and expel your kids. They send, teachers know where the best schools are. And if they're pulling their kids out of MPS, if there's no high-performing seats available in the best schools, then they'll send their kids to private schools. But here's the catch-22. And they exercise school choice all the time, because if you have the money and the income, if you're making your six-figure income off of black taxpayers in the city of Milwaukee that are paying your salary and investing in your pension, and you can move out of the city and also put your kid in a private school because you make enough money to afford the tuition. When a black family that doesn't have that same kind of income wants to exercise school choice, they're always against it. You're taking money away from the public schools. They need to fix their mouths to say what they're actually thinking. Every time a black family pulls their child out of MPS and wants to put their kids in a private school because the kids might be safer, they may perform better, the religion that is discussed at home in the case of a religious school better fits with, the curriculum of the school, which we know has a positive impact on children. Instead of them saying, you're taking money away from the public schools, be honest, say, you're taking money away from me. You're taking my salary away. I might get laid off if you darkies keep pulling your kids out of low-performing schools. And here's the real kicker. They put their kids in private schools because private schools have this barrier of tuition. Middle-class and lower-income black families can't afford the tuition, but the white people can. Because look at the income disparities in the city of Milwaukee. White people make more money. No matter how liberal and progressive they get, no matter how much they love black folks, no matter how much they love Barack Obama, they ain't putting their kids in North Division. North Division can get a $50 million endowment. They still ain't putting their kids on 11th and Center. Let's talk to Sandra. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I am fine. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
I think you need one more day.
No, I don't. No, like hell.
I just called to mess with you. But, I heard you say you're glad it was Friday. But I sent you that text about the automation. I know you know about it. But I just want our people to really be aware, because just like the guy just called, says he's sick of the entitlements. Well, that's the code word saying blacks and he called it welfare, but now it's entitlements. And that's the code word for saying blacks are collecting all the money. And you're just speaking about the teachers getting paid off. That's government. What's the difference? I know it's a difference with education, but it's all government, funding and stuff. So where do they get off? And then Trump, said he was going to put the police in all Democratic cities, the military and police and all. And this Dion guy, he may be one of those that be going to jail or something, because the least little thing you do, probably if you spit, they're probably going to arrest you, because they don't want us to say anything. They want to do the damage, and we say nothing. And so I was just saying, and then you got to remember, you got these nationalists, what they call religious nationalists.
Christian nationalists, yeah. That's the new thing that the Klans member call themselves.
Yeah, and they're trying to demolish us, and we made this country. It just makes me so mad when you get these folks up here, and Tommy Thompson cut out the welfare. So the guy needs to get his act together when he talks. It's a lot of stuff that's cut out that people don't get anymore. Food stamps are cut, and different things. Our schools are closing. A lot of things are being cut out. So he needs to read before he go to running his mouth and saying they're getting these entitlements. And what is he getting on entitlements? Do he get insurance for health care?
Wait, who was complaining about entitlements, Sandra?
Was that Dion or something? He called you just about.
Oh, yeah, I read his text message earlier. Dion doesn't count. He's just a bloviating loudmouth.
But I'm just saying, people hear that, and I hear them saying it all the time. And I hear black people talking and saying, our kids don't want to work. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. We want to have babies. Our black people are talking that language. So it's time for them to stop it. Stop that stuff, because I'm going to counteract it. They does not come to me with it. I'm just going to tell you that, because we end up going to word blows with it. I got a kind of like a relative now mad at me right now behind that kind of stuff. So I'm just saying, they need to know the truth before they go to speaking the negative about black people. So that's what I called to say.
All right. Appreciate your call, Sandra.
And I heard you talk to Dr. Ken, too, the other day. I got to talk to him and tell him. I forgot to tell him.
Yeah, that was a shock. He called me in front of his whole class. Next thing I know,
Dr.
Kelly, hey, class, say hi to Sherwin. Hi, Sherwin. That freaked me out.
Oh, okay. Okay, have a nice weekend.
All right, you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, son. Let me take a break. Come back and rant and rave about more stuff. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Make sure you download the free 101.7 The Truth app, where you can stream this program and all the programs across our wonderful lineup, and even download podcasts of shows that you missed. We even give away prizes exclusively for Truth app users. So you make sure your notifications are on, and every so often we'll surprise you with a notification to win tickets to all sorts of things throughout the city. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
From my family and myself, I would like to say thank you to Gruber Law Offices for taking such good care of us.
I would say thank you because you were so human and so much of a friend during the whole process.
I'm super grateful for them representing me and doing all that they did for me.
I would just say thank you for making me feel better.
That's why I'm here, to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Happy Financial Literacy Month from Educators Credit Union. If you're dreaming of financial freedom, new ways to pay down debt, or tips to invest in your future, Educators Credit Union can help. They offer budgeting tools, personal finance courses, and debt solutions to turn your financial dreams into reality. Learn more at ECU.com. That is ECU.com. Membership at Educators Credit Union is open to anyone who lives or works in southeastern Wisconsin, and they are federally insured by NCUA.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Tory Lowe with his truth.
This is a true story by Tory Lowe. A commotion unfolds as two women argue inside of a car. The situation escalates when one woman pleads with a bystander asking for help to remove another woman from her car. The bystander, confused and concerned, asks, "Who is this woman?" She explains that she took her to church but wants her out before something bad happens. An older man, apparently familiar with the situation, approaches and demands the young woman in the backseat to leave. He threatens to involve the police. The bystander asks the woman outside of the car what the woman in the backseat did. She mentions something involving a child. The bystander immediately knew it was serious. The older man heads into Walmart to call the police while the bystander calmly approaches the woman in the back seat. He offers her to take her home out of fear for the woman's safety. The woman agrees to leave the car, but chaos ensues when the woman who requested her removal starts acting even more erratically. The woman from the back seat starts screaming, prompting the bystander to act quickly. A passing male driver offers to take the woman home, and the bystander agrees. They recognize each other from past encounters, establishing a sense of trust. As the woman leaves with the Good Samaritan, the bystander wishes them well and exchanges sentiments with the Good Samaritan. The situation was resolved just as the police arrived. The bystander informs the police the issue has been resolved and bids them a blessed day.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Tory Lowe Show weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth tomorrow at 10 a.m. for another episode of Community Heartbeat presented by Outreach Community Health Centers. I'll be speaking with practitioners and health experts about developing attitudes and lifestyles which don't just fight illness but help prevent them too. It's not just a show, it's a movement dedicated to bringing our community together through wellness. Do not miss Community Heartbeat presented by Outreach Community Health Centers this Saturday at 10 a.m. on 1017 The Truth. I like that jazz. Hold on, let's keep this thing going. Whoops, I'm not reading that one. Hold on, what's another one I can read? I already read that. Come on, Sherwin. Hey, Truth Nation. The One World Music Festival is coming to the Riverside Theater next Friday. This music festival features some of the hottest local artists that you love, like Chicken P, 414 Big Frank, JP, Joe Pablo, and many more. The One World Music Festival also honors Milwaukee's legendary rap artists like Cuckoo Cal, Baby Drew, Ray Nitty, Homer Blow, and so many more. Make sure you get your tickets to attend the One World Music Festival on Friday, April 26th at the Riverside Theater in downtown Milwaukee. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Get your tickets. Visit papstheatergroup.com. That's papstheatergroup.com and search One World Music Festival. papstheatergroup.com. That's enough for Paul Arquette. Thank you, Savannah. Oh, good Lord. Look at this lineup I got right here on these calls. Dion, I don't even really want to talk to you because you're just going to make me mad. And I'm trying to start my weekend on a high note. Let's talk to Linda. Hello, Linda.
Good morning. Good
morning,
morning, Professor. Good morning, Good Karma Brands. And good morning to all the good black and white people that showed up last night.
Oh, you changed it up on me.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to just call in and say that I appreciated being there last night. I'm really grateful that I was there and to be in the midst and to realize that I am not alone with the passion for supporting diversity on that school board and also people who are supporting the advancement and progress of Black people and our children's intellectual potential. I really was grateful. But Sherwin, what happened to you? You dashed off. I said, "No, okay."
Well, they went in a closed session, Linda, and they're not going to come back because that meeting was way too hot. So I know once they went in a closed session, they were not going to come back and do a public meeting again. So after they went in a closed session, I left.
Yeah, but I like to say this, Sherwin. This is why we need conversations about ethics. Like, when you left, since we sat together and we was
no, Linda, I sat down and you sat by me.
Now let me finish.
And then I got up and sat somewhere else.
Linda,
you
I'm
come
out.
bring your tail back and sit there.
Take a poll.
Why are you yelling at me?
Anybody, when you leaving, you say, "Okay, Linda, I'm out." You just left us.
Hold on, Linda. You ain't my woman. I ain't got to announce when I'm leaving to you.
It doesn't have to be. That's just common courtesy.
Linda, I went to the meeting to support Aisha Carr and to support everybody else that went to the meeting. And and I sat down and minded my own business because when I'm in public, I like to just sit by myself. And here you come. You left your purse and everything. Ooh, Sherwin, let me go sit next to Sherwin. And then I go to the bathroom and come back. I had a whole nother seat. Here you come sitting next to me again. When the meeting went in a closed session, I left, Linda. I got to tell you when I'm leaving.
No, that remember, I left my seat and my belongings to come and sit with you and to just engage in the cause. But I just thought it was common courtesy to say, "Hey, I'm out." That's
Linda,
just the way my mom and dad raised me.
Linda, ain't nobody tell you to get up from your seat and come sit next to me. And here's the other thing. For future reference, if I go to a public event or a public meeting, and if somebody sits next to me, you have to be quiet. Mm-hmm. You were engaging with the choir, which is fine. Yes, you were, Linda. You was just yelling and hooping and hollering like you was in church. I like to listen when I go to these meetings. Now, there was a gallery of people that was hooping and hollering, doing all sorts of stuff like they was at church, but you can't do that. You come sit next to me. I want to be able to hear.
I did not do that. I didn't do that. You know that.
Yes,
you know
did.
that. Don't put me out like that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Say it again. Yeah, girl. That's right. Woo-wee.
I clapped when you clapped.
No, you didn't. Linda, I'm not here to argue with you, but I know that I'm going to leave and I ain't got to say goodbye to nobody.
That's just common courtesy. That's just how I was raised. So
Linda, if I say goodbye to you, then I have to say goodbye to everybody else. And I knew 80 people in that room. So what I do is
everybody else wasn't sitting next to you.
I didn't ask nobody to sit next to me, woman.
I had the honor of sitting next to Sherwin. So I'm just saying I had to check you on that. So I appreciate it, and I'll appreciate our right to be different.
Have a good weekend, Linda.
Have a good weekend.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, then, Linda. All right, then. So I go and I sit down, say hi to a couple people, wave, fist bump a couple of my people, sit down by myself in a row, sitting down, chilling. Next thing I see, Linda wearing a white suit with a glittery shirt underneath. Hey, Sherwin, hey. I didn't ask that woman to come sit next to me. Let's talk to Mr. Moore. You're on 101.7.
Oh, hey, Sherwin.
Hey.
Long time no hear.
Yeah, it's been a while. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm well.
Okay,
I'm well.
Good.
Hey, I just wanted to say the guy that murdered the young lady. I've been watching the news and I haven't heard anything, like nothing nice about her, like how she graduated, well, was about to graduate from MATC for criminal justice, and she wanted to go to the Air Force.
Are you on social media, Mr. Moore?
No.
The beauty of her life is being unfolded as we speak by all of her friends, families, co-workers, and loved ones on social media. If you're expecting the local news in this city
to do anything,
it's too hard for me to talk about because it's exploitative,
you're right.
And it's just because there's nothing we can do about it. Thankfully, they're finding more of her. Like, that is even difficult for me to discuss because I got to be mindful of whatever it is that I say. The family is going to be extra sensitive to members of the media and anybody else talking about their daughter, their sister, et cetera. And so I know there's so many other things we need to discuss. And if people want to hear more about that horrible tragedy, there's so many other ways you can do that. But it's too hard for me. I read the criminal complaint last Friday, and that messed me up so bad that I got to stay away from that one.
Did you know his daddy a lawyer? A big-time lawyer?
I hate to say this, mister. I don't care nothing about that man or his family. I don't care. And I don't even want to highlight him. I don't care what his family does.
$5 million.
Say it again?
I know, but I mean, that is bond like, what, $5 million?
Correct, and he's being held because nobody has $5 million to get him out.
That's not true.
That's 100% true. He is still in custody.
Well, his daddy got that dough.
His daddy does not have $5 million to get him out of jail because he's still in. Get a Facebook account. You can read all the stuff you want to about it because right now you believe in misinformation. That man is still in jail. Do you think that the community would be silent if he was released?
No. I know that he's still in jail. He's not going to get released until he get some kind of.
He's never getting out. He's never going to get out of jail.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be a good thing that he don't get out.
He's never getting out.
Okay, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing that he's never going to get out. Well, Sherwin, you have a good day. I don't want to mess up your weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You keep your head up and throw that finger up next time you walk out a door. You leave it.
I think they call it an Irish goodbye because if you say goodbye, you got to say goodbye to everybody. Because then if I say goodbye to half of the people, then the other half is Sherwin, you ain't say goodbye to me. So Sherwin just says goodbye to himself, and I walk out.
Yeah, throw that finger up. That's like, hold on 1 second. And you can be ghost. It's called the ghost, the one finger ghost.
You want me to throw my middle finger up when I'm leaving a public meeting?
No, man. No.
What finger am I throwing up?
Throw up the finger next to your thumb, not the middle finger.
My index finger.
When you was walking backwards in that panel, if you wanted the panel to see the middle finger, yes, but not your fellow associates, like the young lady who came and sat beside you. She sat right next to her.
Well, when I hear you say throw up a finger, only one finger comes to mind. I use that finger a lot. It's my favorite finger.
Oh, yeah. I get it. Throwing that a lot on the freeway. I don't use it.
I'm using it right now. Actually.
You fingering me, dude?
Hey! Pause! I got to go, man. I got to go.
Hey, have a good weekend.
You and Bob both. Y'all need to take some naps. Something wrong with y'all today. I got one more segment. I'm hightailing it out of here. Damn it, I got a show I got to do tomorrow at 10 a.m. Make sure you listen to, what's my show called tomorrow? Hold on. Wait. Hang on. I got a Community Heartbeat. Listen to Community Heartbeat tomorrow. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Yes, who am I speaking with?
Sherwin Hughes, you just won $5,000.
$5,000, Patricia! You're rich. Not really, not intergenerational wealth, but you just won $5,000!
What would you do with $5,000?
Oh, well, I am going to pay some bills. Oh, my God.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
Beautify your entertainment space with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Hi, this is Gina Della from Pella. Turn your ordinary space into something extraordinary with brand new Pella windows. The luxurious look, sleek design, and custom colors available is guaranteed to give your home the extra pop to entertain and keep you comfortable. At Pella, we see windows differently. We have the highest rated energy efficient products and a complete range of durable, functional, and high quality products that bring out the best of your home. Plus, getting the perfect windows and doors for your home has never been easier. Right now, get 0% interest for up to 36 months, or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months if you book before April 30th. That's right, get 0% interest for up to 36 months, or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months if you book before April 30th. Take ownership of your living space and make it a place worth living with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Brewers 5-County Fridays are now Wisconsin First Fridays. Get half-price Brewers tickets for the entire state of Wisconsin at the First Friday Brewers home game every month. Come cheer on the Brewers from any corner of the Badger State and get 50% off your seats. Take advantage of this special offer and don't miss out on Friday night baseball all season. Check out the complete Brewers schedule of Wisconsin First Fridays and get your tickets now at brewers.com/Wisconsin Fridays.
The biggest names in the basketball world.
Dame Dollar Lillard.
Having fun and honest conversations.
He puts it in the shoe, right? And sets the tone for brothers and sisters and family.
Every week, Thanasis Adetokounmpo sits down with special guests on Thanalysis Show. Presented by Carbless Ready-to-Drink Cocktails.
Fantastic.
Find Thanalysis Show on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube by searching Thanalysis Show.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Harry thought I got maced and arrested by going to an MPS school board meeting. If I got arrested, you all would know. So, you know the white fella, Thomas, who suspended 20 and 30 black kids a day when he was an MPS administrator, and he called in trying to call me a racist? Well, now he's texting, so he's very butthurt. This is what he says to me. Thomas says, "Never thought a black man could be racist until I listened to you. Way to kill the stereotype." Thomas, get bent. This is not for you. There's an advanced level of conversation that African Americans have amongst themselves that you are not equipped for. You know what this tells me, Thomas? And all of the people that you may have called your black friends your whole life, because I think you're one of those. I got black friends. They really weren't your friends. Because if they were, you would be much more familiar with how black people actually talk about the things that impact us. If one of us is impacted by the system and the institutions, then all of us are impacted, and that's how we talk. You also happen to be a part of that institution, doubly so because you are suspending black children. And remember that day when you called, Thomas? Remember that day and I asked you, of those black children that y'all kicked out of school for the whole terrible, egregious offense of looking at a teacher the wrong way? I wonder how many of them are dead or in jail. I wonder how many lives you stifled because you diminished a child when it comes to how they feel about school, about teachers, and about education. I wonder how much blood you got on your hands. And I say this respectfully, Thomas, go listen to somebody else. This is the last time we're going to have this talk, Thomas. But thank you for listening when you did, but we don't need you. Look, Dion, listen to me, man. Listen. I don't want no mess out of you. I don't want no mess out of you.
Wait, hold on.
I'm telling you right now,
like gentlemen. Wait, no. Listen, I have no problem with what transpired between you and other callers. We're dialecting between ourselves, so you shouldn't have no bias towards me. All I'm saying is that you try to disregard the comment that I made. Listen, like I tell you all the time, for one, just because you don't know what reason, as I tell you all the time, why I don't participate in the political system, for one. For two,
Dion, like it negates everything that you say, though, because you'll have your thoughts, feelings, and opinions, but if you won't actually put any action behind them, then, dude, you're just talking. I think that we are at a place right now in this society where we ain't got time for people to just talk, brother. You got to do something.
Okay, you're correct. So I'm going to tell you like this, right? Even everybody that's going out there, standing in the line, putting their ballot in, what is it doing? We just going to keep on every time?
Damn it, I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to hang up. I can't. I got 2 minutes left until I start my weekend. You know what? Had enough of y'all. I am going to coast into my weekend on a high note. Y'all over here trying to ruin it for me. And I ain't going to let y'all ruin it for me. So you know what I want to do? I'm going to start my weekend on a high note. Y'all just over here trying to stress a brother out. It's been a long week. And I got a bunch of stuff I got to do this weekend. Y'all, hold on a second. Let me find out how I can stay. There we go. Start my weekend on a high note. Y'all get some Linda Ronstadt. Come on, Linda. Talk to him. Why are all these people calling right now? Baby, you're no good. Who is this? I said, who is this?
Lana.
Who?
Lana.
Hi, Lana. You got 30 seconds, but my show about to be over.
I know. All I want to say, Sherwin, is have a nice weekend. Don't let anything interfere with your happiness. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, Lana.
Don't let anything interfere. I'm sorry. Don't let anything interfere with your happiness. Just think about the positive and good things you're going to do this weekend, okay?
Amen. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, then. Hey, Flat Earther, you got 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Thank you guys for listening. Have yourselves a good weekend. I'll see you next time.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
We do this for you, Truth Nation. Because of your unwavering support, we are a 24-time WBA award finalist.
Did you ever think that you would be in this position right now where your daughter would have some way lose her life?
I didn't want to believe it. All the times I called, sometimes the phone would ring and ring and ring for days. I didn't want to know that she had successfully committed suicide.
We are the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
And look at how Black, powerful people are covered in the media and portrayed. We're not talking about their innocence or guilt. We're talking about how it is handled. It is an attempt to continue to perpetuate the stereotype that Black, powerful, wealthy people can only be black, powerful, wealthy people based on their criminal activities.